too bad.
And we are live here on Plus One EXP's Roll for Content channel. My name is Tony Vicinda. I'm Chief Alchemist here at Plus One EXP. Our hope and our dream is to help amazing designers find great players who love their games, and help amazing players find great designers whose games they can love. We do that in a lot of different ways. Sometimes it's through actual plays, which we're going to get to in just a little bit. But lots of the time it's in the shape of community conversations or ongoing events, series of dialogues that are important about who we are and what we are all about in the TTRPG community, or what we hope we could be all about as the TTRPG family. This week, we're entering into one of those a little bit more intentionally. A year ago, the U.S. and a lot of the world was in a pretty horrible place, not just because of the pandemic, but because of generations upon generations of racial violences and prejudice boiling over, unfortunately, in the death of certain individuals, which led to large-scale pushback by the general populace in a way that in many ways was long overdue and has been really challenging for a lot of people, really in the context just asking the question, where am I at in this? How do I do this? And for RPG creators, I think that was no different. And there was an amazing project that came about in the middle of that we're going to be talking about over the course of the next few days, and that's the Dissident Whispers TTRPG anthology. It was a series of adventures from an international and diverse crew of creators. I was not a part of that project at all. I want to be very clear up front, and I'll clarify that numerous times. But Jeremy, who's on the screen right now, waved to everybody. Jeremy said, hey, it's been a year, could we do something about this? And I said, on the channel, sure. I was not involved. I can't tell you what to do. So we got a bunch of other people who were involved here over the course of the next few days are going to come on and play games and hang out and share their stories. And we'll talk a little bit more about all that stuff that's coming up in just a minute. But in the meantime, let's meet the people who are on with us tonight to talk about that exact thing. If you are one of those creators and you're watching right now, please introduce yourself in the chat. Or if you have a favorite part of the Dissident Whispers project, let us know what it was in the chat or where you're watching from. Let's just scroll counterclockwise around from the audience perspective. So who knows what it's like for the rest of us. But that's going to start with Vi Huntsman. Vi, tell people who you are, what you do, where they can find you online, but also what your role was in Dissident Whispers.
Hello, I'm Vi Huntsman, they, them pronouns. I'm a Waffle Bunny on Twitter. That's all you need to know about me. I was one of the people that jumped on to help facilitate the production of Dissident Whispers, which was huge honor. It was super, super fun. It was we're going to talk about it later, but yeah, I think the role was called Helper. I was a helper and I edited a few things and I wrote the adventure that I'm going to be running tonight.
Awesome. Let's go up to Nick. Nick, tell people who you are, what you do, where they can find you online, and what your role was with Dissident Whispers.
Hi, I'm Nick at Monkey's Paw Games on Twitter. I use he, they pronouns. I was actually not involved in the making of Dissident Whispers. I'm just here because Vi wanted me to run some bastards, and I love the system and love the game, and just here to kind of celebrate the channel and all the excellent work that everyone's done here.
Awesome. And the reason it might seem like I don't know that is because there are over 90 people who kicked in on this project.
Yeah, there's so many.
Talk a little bit about your experience of have you checked out Dissident Whispers? You're familiar with Dissident Whispers. For you, what was your experience maybe receiving that or checking it out for the first time? Nick.
So it's I've read probably 10% of this book because, like you said, there's over 90 people who came to work in it, and honestly, it just as far as anthologies go, I find a lot of them either there's such a specific sort of narrow focus to it that some of the work kind of blends together a little bit, or there's just so many voices that it creates this beautiful mosaic and sort of melange of everybody being sort of a part of kind of like an orchestra, and Dissident Whispers for me was really more the latter, in that everything, at least like I said, the 10% of the 90 that I've read, is everything was just so different, and the art direction was incredible, and it really turned me on to a lot of the the artists and the writers that I'm, a big fan of their work today. So like, it's something that we were just talking about earlier before we got into the stream about how like, it's been on my to-do list for so long to like actually sit down and read the whole thing cover to cover. I actually have to find my physical copy somewhere. It's in my pile of zines, which again, hilariously, we were talking about zine storage and mine's getting really out of control. But yeah, it's just, it was such an unbelievable project that I wish that I had gotten, I had jumped on sort of pitching to when it started, kind of in hindsight, because at the time I was not really confident in sort of publishing myself now, but now it's like, oh man, I would love to see one of those done like every year, basically. Because
we're going to announce Dissident Whispers 2 at the end of this, so which is that everybody watching right now is not a thing yet that I am aware of in any way, shape, or form. It's a joke. Because I don't have to do any of the work, so I get to make that joke. Let's move over to Jeremy. Jeremy,
killing me.
Jeremy, tell people who you are, what you do, where they can find you online, but what your role in Dissident Whispers was.
I am Jeremy Childry. I write RPGs, do layout for various games, and make dice for a living. And my role in Dissident Whispers was incredibly small, right? Like I did 2 layout spreads, Hopebringer and Ramadi's Springs, and I wrote the little quote thing on the back of the. But other than knowing somebody to talk to, right? I didn't have a huge role in the actual production. And I wanted to write something, but it got so big so quick, and I was just kind of like unable to get an idea out. So I was like, okay, I can do layout though. I can present somebody's information. So I did some of those, and not near as many as other people did, but yeah, I did a couple.
The back blurb is like super strong though. The cries of the few become the whispers of many. The whispers become shouts. Those shouts become action. We weep together out of sadness, out of fear, out of anger, but not in submission. Together, today we stand together stronger than ever. Fragmented voices becoming one. We will be heard. Like, it is like absolutely a statement that needed to be made then. And again, one of the things that you and I were talking about, like, it's a year later, and sometimes there's the feeling in some parts of the culture that like, oh, that was a cultural moment that happened, rather than a conversation and a reality that we're still in the middle of, and a struggle that we're still in the middle of, not something that we did once and now we're done and wasn't that great. Whether or not Dissident Whispers 2 ever comes out or not, that conversation still needs to be maintained. And so I really appreciate you're just saying like, hey, can we do something? And everybody else rallying around that also, because that's how stuff gets done. Speaking of which, last but not least, hopping on just for the first part of our conversation, we have Sean. Sean, tell people who you are, what you do, where they can find your work online, and then what your role was in Dissident Whispers.
Yeah, for sure. I'm Sean McCoy. I am a co-founder of Tuesday Night Games. You can find me at PlayTKG or at Mothership RPG on Twitter. And Jeremy and I think Ian Newsom brought me on to Dissident Whispers first, just by Jeremy saying like, hey, I've got this friend, they have this project, can they recruit in the Mothership Discord? Which was fine. Although I did put him through the ringer of like asking into the questions like, is this going to be Mothership related? Is this just like another charity recruitment thing? How far is this going to go? I was kind of a pain in the ass about it at first. And then I came in and did some helper stuff with Vi. And then Tuesday Night Games ended up handling sort of the print and fulfillment aspect of publishing, just because these projects are a massive undertaking, both in terms of just like manpower and in terms of organization and logistics. And so we had a lot of raw talent, and also a lot of people who just had energy and needed to direct it somewhere. There's like a cathartic part of that. And having enough people that had been in the industry long enough to say like, okay, well, here's how you organize a project. Here's where I think one of the big things Ian was talking to me about was like, how long should these submissions be? What should we set our goals at? And I was saying like, okay, well, we've just spent the last 2 months hiring people to do 2-page spread adventures. So like, here's boom, boom, boom. Here's what we're doing. I think that helped in terms of just being able to give us the confidence to move forward and like hit sort of all of our targets. And that was a really sort of very, very fun and rewarding process to you accumulate expertise, hopefully, in publishing and writing and designing, and you largely spend it on yourself. But to be able to spend that on other people is a very validating experience to sort of give away that experience. I highly recommend, as soon as you have any sort of knowledge or ability in this industry, to turn around and give some of that to somebody else, because the impact is huge, 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 huge.
Well, and let's talk about that for a second before we bounce to some bigger combos. And you can come back on sometime where we can talk about this more. But the Mothership community is actually very good at that. Like, the Mothership community is a place where people are constantly collaborating and sharing gifts with each other and sharing skills. And we're going to see that, like, as we go through this week, as we have like Meredith Junk Golem on, as we have, Eric on, as we have a lot of the different people on, and when we talk through this, a lot of the people in the Mothership community collaborate regularly. Like, one of my biggest notes from last Zine Quest was like, all the Mothership projects, third-party projects, did very well, but you would see a lot of common names across them. And there were people who had connected online, had been working together. And a lot of people find that hard, especially in a third-party space. A lot of times it's one person who's kind of championing things. But because of your involvement with this project, as well as what we see coming out of that, is there something specifically you would say, beyond saying like, hey, do it, is there a way that y'all have tried to encourage that within the Mothership community that you feel like maybe connects or parallels to some of the work that happened in Whisper? Or did the Whisper, the Dissident Whispers, like, feed into some of that collaboration within the Mothership community?
Jeremy, what do you think? You've been on sort of the Mothership side of things. I feel like some of that was us getting lucky. We were early adopters of Discord for an RPG community. I try my hardest to, if you're doing a third party thing and you have questions or you need advice, I try to be pretty available for that. And one of the big things we try to encourage is that just the third party people support each other. As we get bigger, like it will get more cliquish, I think, and that'll be the next like sort of obstacle to overcome. But the barrier to entry is low, and so I think for a lot of third party people, like, knowing, like, I'm pretty upfront, like, hey, if you make this and get to print, we'll probably buy 50 copies, period. So that will probably pay for the print run. And if you need money for a print run, like, we could talk about that too. And I don't know if that will sustain forever, but I've had a few people take me up on it that are just like, I have a project, I need to get it to print, I don't have the $160 to print 50 copies or whatever. And not like that's nothing, but when you've been publishing, it's not, we'll make that money back. So I think that's helped. I don't know, Jeremy, what have you seen?
Well, like, just from like a baseline, the like encouragement to create aspect of Tony's question, like the first thing I ever saw that I wrote myself, like, and it wasn't anything, it was like 2 words, right, was in an actual book that you could go on drive through and get, was in Hive Mind, right? Like, I think I had I had one of the entries on, I started one of the entries as like space drugs or something like that, right? Like something, of course, like that. And and that was that, like, just kind of having like an already in place, like, in-house, like, come up with an idea, whatever idea it is, put it on a list. We have a huge list, like, you know what I mean? That encourages that right off rip. So
That like baby step of like, okay, boom, you're in now, like you're part of it.
yeah, exactly.
Vi, let's talk a little bit more about that. Like, as the collab, like you said, you started out with like the title helper next to your name. I know like people have talked about, we talked about in the chat a number of times, like the project grew and grew and grew and got bigger and needed more support. And it was like a learning process for everybody. Like, I love that it's not just like, oh, we're experts. Here's how we're going to do DW2. It's like, ha ha ha, we survived the first one. Let's appreciate that for a little while longer and then we can talk more. But I know that there's been a lot of learning and growth through that. So for people who are thinking about like creating collaborative content, who are thinking about how they can combine voices to really kind of amplify the conversations that need to be had through play, what's some advice you might give them based on your experiences through the first Dissident Whispers project?
Well, I think that a lot of the like the lessons that I learned were that like stuff happens like two ways. It's like you ask someone to do it and then they do it, or you like see a need and you ask someone else to do it. So there was a lot of like people who knew the right questions to ask and found people that could do them, and then just like bringing them all on. So when we had like the right questions to ask, where we're like, hey, when we were ready to ask, at first it was just like maybe we were trying to get like 10 one-page dungeons, and it just kind of that was the original pitch actually, and then it blew up into this whole glue-bound book. One of the questions we needed to know was, like Sean was saying, like how many words can we put on there? If we want a map or an illustration, how much do we need? And then you can ask someone the exact question of like, hey, can you write 1,700 words? And then in a moment that was as charged as that, there were a lot of people who came from all over the world that were like, yes, they were prepared to contribute in that way. And so it's that's what I would do. It's like if you don't know the right question to ask, you have to figure out what it is, and then find people who can work together with you on it. And I also want to tell, I don't know which direction it is on Twitch, but Jeremy you were saying at the beginning that you said your role was incredibly small, but I gotta say there were very few layout people that were able to contribute their time. So you and Sean, I know you laid out some adventures. Like everyone, like you Tony, your question was based around like collaborative endeavors, and I think that at the heart of it, it has to be like knowing that everyone is there doing their part, and every part is important. So from the people that did just like just lay out on a couple things, those parts in the project were so important, like the whole time. And so I don't know, it's just
yeah, like I feel really strongly like when somebody works on a book with me, depending on like what their contribution is or where they want to be, like I'll put their name on the front of the book right next to mine. Like I tend to not put my name on the front of the book, but if I'm going to, like I want people to know that other people contributed also. Like right up in the front of the book, there's a list of all like I said, over 90 contributors, and everybody's listed. Like there's not somebody who's just like, oh, well here's the people who wrote, or here's the people who did art. It's like here's the artists, the layout people, the people who did this, the people who did that. Like here's how these people kicked in. And like all of that is noted with equal billing as you go throughout the thing. Like it is a very egalitarian and equitable process for all the collaborators.
That was partially by necessity too, because so many people were jumping in to handle multiple jobs. Like, and I know that, I edited an adventure and I wrote a different adventure and I helped wrangle the writers early on in the project, so it was like I was not the only one that was, juggling multiple responsibilities.
It was going to get insane if we were like putting like somebody's name and then we had to find out like, okay, writer, and then we had to tag like on this one editor, and just for a pure word count we were like, why don't we just list everybody's names?
Yeah.
And I like how it turned out, because it looks, I mean, like no one, like you were saying, no one's name is bigger than anyone else's. No one's name is it doesn't matter what. Yeah,
well, I didn't know any of the people's real names that I was working on their project anyway. Yeah. Like I had to go back and be like, hey, what is your actual name? Because I put their credits on my spreads, right? Like what is your actual name, so that I could.
Even Junk today, like I was like, hey, I put you on the advertising stuff as Junk. Do you want to be Junk Golem, or do you want to go by Meredith? Like, what would you prefer? And she was like, oh, I go by Meredith when I'm getting credited on a book, but anywhere else listed me as junk is probably 90% the right choice, because that's what everyone will know me as, you know? And that's very much a reality. Like, somebody earlier today was like, okay, what's your actual last name, Tony? And I was like, oh yeah, like it's not on a lot of my stuff. Here you go. Like,
It's not +1.
and so it's not +1. I was
I
like, this
did
is
not know that.
Everybody thought the company was just
Noted.
named after me. No, I think it's huge. I think you know, here is maybe one last question, and then Sean, I know you're just joining us for the first part. We'll dive into the game maybe after that. I'd love to hear maybe two things from everybody, and that is like going forward, if there was a Dissident Whispers 2. That's just an if. We're not saying there is going to be one. That's a totally different conversation. But if there was, what are some of the things you would kind of maybe want to see it tackle, whether that's organizational, topic-wise, to help support? Like, what are some of the conversations out there that you feel like Dissident Whispers either opened up or represented, or just lessons learned in the way that you think would be good to carry forward? That's part one. It could also be like how you want to be involved for Nick, who was not involved in the first one. Like, what would you want to contribute? And then the second one is if you have a favorite piece, either that you or someone else worked on, just sharing that also too. So if you have one, I would love to hear those from people. We'll go in the reverse order that we originally started. Sean, why don't you start us off? Is there a lesson learned or a topic that you would love to see, or something you would love to address moving forward in Dissident Whispers?
So I think moving forward, there's two challenges for Whisper Collective Dissident Whispers. The first one is like, as an activist organization, where are they going to put their resources? I think there was sort of lightning in a bottle with Black Lives Matter going on. And even at the time, there was a lot of talk about like, why don't we do one about this? Or why don't we do one about that? And I don't think that's like the wrong conversation to be having. But it gets muddy very quickly because all these sort of different people came together because they were feeling something in one very particular moment. And even from there, the conversations about like, should we focus on this thing or this thing? All of a sudden, everybody had different stakes because they were like, well, I was in it for this, but I'm not in it for that, or I'm in it for that, but at a different scale. So just having the time to say like, okay, what are we going to focus on next? My personal opinion is that like, this stuff works out better if one person has a passion and they just say, I want to make something about X, who can come with me, as opposed to like, let's sort of vote and form blocks about like what we think is the most deserving of our resources. And the second thing will be not feeling the need to catch lightning in a bottle again. My background is in film, and there's this big thing that we talked about at the end of Dissident Whispers, which is postpartum depression after giant projects. Big charities, especially when you do a sprint like Dissident Whispers, just drain you. You're involved, it takes up all your life, and then it's over. And that's sort of it. And it's part of the process, and you need time to like rest and recoup and figure out sort of your next stage. But I feel like another bad thing would be to set as the bar for success the same feeling you had last time, or expect the same response as last time. I think the biggest thing going forward will just be to say, okay, we're going to do X, and let's just see how that goes. Because it will be very difficult to catch those same feelings. You'll be going through it going like, man, last time we had all these people, or man, last time everybody was so on fire, and this time it just seems like more of the same, you know. So I think those, like, knowing where to put your resources, you know, following a lead that somebody's passionate about, and not trying to duplicate that feeling again, and instead just saying, there's a lot of work that needs to be done, let's just do some more work. And some of those a lot of people will care about, and some of those nobody will care about. But that doesn't mean it's not valuable. That's like, those were the things when Distant Whispers was wrapping up that I was talking to some people about like, on the road ahead, this is the stuff I'd be thinking about next.
Yeah. Love it. All right. What's your favorite Dissident Whispers entry, if you have one?
My favorite, I love my business partner, Alan Girding, wrote one called Ventre Colony 17, and it was his first mothership thing he had ever written, and I got to lay it out, and I was just blown away. I mean, I knew he loved Mothership, and I know he's a great DM and a great designer, but the adventure was phenomenal. It's basically about a thing where you're called down to put down a revolt of like mutants on another planet, and you're hired by the military to do it, and they give you these goggles that like protect you. But if you take the goggles off, the mutants just are normal people that are just protesting and rioting and all these other things.
Right.
And that's a pretty effed up moment for like a lot of different players that are having that, and the fact that Alan sort of went there really just blew me away, and I had just a blast laying it out and reading his stuff, and just the concept was so fun for role playing thing.
Love it. Love it. Real quick, Jeremy Chaudhry, Ezra and Jaren are watching right now. They say, "Hi, Dad." And so, also, Liquid Fox Zero says, "Thank you all for your hard work. DW is gorgeous." Derek Bizzer says, "I have an Emerald Horizon bookmarked for my next Mothership game. I'm keeping it in my back pocket for a one shot on a one-off night. Thanks everybody for all you've done for the community as a whole." Jeremy, tell people what you would want to take forward into the next one.
If we were going to do another Dissident Whispers, um, I'd like to see it tackle, other issues and things like that that are important socially. But like Sean said, you need you need somebody to say, hey, this is what we're gonna do, right? Do you want to do this or not, right? Like, and I think that like moving forward, mostly, I don't even know, man. It's like it was a very like large thing that happened in a very specific instance, right? And I think the biggest thing for me is that I just want it to always go to something that makes sense, that is important, right? And I think that most of the people involved, right, are capable of finding those things and getting into those kinds of conversations and stuff like that, and finding something that we can do to make some more money for this charity, a different charity, whatever we feel like doing.
Speaking of which, I dropped the link before. I'll drop it again in just 1 second. It's also right down below. So we are raising money for the Bail Project, which really views paying bail for somebody else as a restorative act and an act of resistance against a flawed and unjust system, which really specifically seeking to address the fact that people who are of lower economic means oftentimes end up in the criminal justice system surely because they can't make bail and therefore can't marshal a defense or can't manage the other parts of their life they need to, whereas the wealthy, whether they're guilty or not, oftentimes can and therefore tend to thrive. And so it's actually seeking to deconstruct some of those things as well as directly paying bail for people. If you want to donate to that, you can go to the ttrpg.link/donate. Created a $500 goal for the next few days. No matter how much money we raise, which we're already 10% of the way there, it'll be a success, but we'd love to blow through that goal. So if you want to donate, please do. We aren't giving anything away if you do, because you should just do it because it's a good thing to do. Maybe next time, but this time we would just love you to go be able to contribute to that. Again, all that money goes directly to them. We don't have to touch it. It's processed through Tiltify, which is a great partner for this. Nick, as somebody who was able to receive the first Dissident Whispers, but who is a potential contributor to future ones, what are things you would love to see kind of happen with Dissident Whispers in the future?
It sounds like a cop-out almost to say that like more of the same, but really like I don't know. There's nothing that I would point at to be like, oh, I really wish that Dissident Whispers, the first one, had done this, because like I feel like it was kind of perfect for the moment. It was perfect for what it was trying to do. It came together organically, and it would be great if Dissident Whispers 2, if there ever was one, came together in a way that was that didn't necessarily need to be like, maybe was for a charity, but wasn't for like something that was pressing in the moment, like a kind of like, oh wow, things are really going bad and we need to do something for that. Like that's a great impulse, and that's an impulse to be celebrated. And I think that's something that makes particularly indie RPGs such a wonderful I hate to say community because I have issues with that, but scene, I guess I'll say. For example, there's the giant itch bundle for racial justice that raised how much money? Like millions, right? Like $1 million. Like wild, like crazy amount of money. Which is awesome, but like it would be great if things like that could happen that weren't because of a specific tragedy, basically. So that would be, I guess, the closest thing I could come up with for like an I wish for Dissident Whispers 2 is if it came together as a bunch of people who weren't looking for just a way to help in some way, because like that's a wonderful impulse, and I wish that more people had that impulse when the chips were down, but it would also be great if the chips weren't down. I guess
something a little bit less reactive.
Yeah,
right?
Exactly. It would be awesome if it was just like, hey, let's do this, it'll be fun, rather than like, oh word, like I feel helpless, I can't do anything, what can I do, kind of thing, right? So like, I don't know, it's also excellent when things are strictly celebratory and not reactive to a tragedy.
Yeah, I love that. And I forgot to ask Jeremy this question, so we'll hop back to him real quick, but I'm also going to ask you, Nick, if you can think of one. Jeremy, what was your favorite entry in Dissident Whispers?
I'm running it Saturday. The ghost ship. It was and I don't know if it has the best writing or anything like that in the whole thing, but it's the one that, like, when I was flipping through the Mothership adventures, because I constantly just play like 3 or 4 systems all the time, right? Like when I was flipping through the Mothership adventures, that one jumped out at me, and then I was also jealous I wasn't as good at layout as the person who did it. And then I read it, and it looked like it was easy to run. I ran it on the night of the last night where everybody was done, like on the like celebratory, we're all finished for Ian Newsom and Christian Kessler, and I think one other person. I'm sorry, person, I can't remember what your name was. Maybe it was Clockwork, but I can't remember their real name. But yeah, it was my go-to, like, right off the bat.
Love it. Nick, how about you? Did you have a favorite entry? I know you said you only gotten through like 10% of them, but
I don't want to crown a favorite until I've actually read all of them, but I will say that it was the first thing that really got me turned into Ian Newsom, for one, for sure. Actually, that was the first time that I saw your name in anything, Jeremy. I don't remember if that was what got me into Mothership at first. UVG, that was the thing that I was like, whoa, this is a cool thing. Like, there was just so many names just reading off on just the back of that book that I was like, oh, these are people whose work that I follow like religiously at this point now. And Dissident Whispers really turned me on to like a huge list of people.
Your favorite page is just the contributors list page in the book.
Honestly, that's a good way of putting it at this point, because I just feel there's so many people who contributed there, and like that was the first place that I saw them, and now I'm just like, oh, like, I mean, just to pull one name out of the hat, Ian, I just finished doing the distro for the Drain for his Kickstarter. That was amazing, and like that was the first place that I saw his work, and like amazing. So yeah,
love it. I was just looking for my copy of the Drain, which is like near at hand, so that's what
Same.
it's like. Vi, tell us, what are some of the things that you would want to look at taking forward, either as lessons, as hopes, whatever, for the next Dissident Whispers?
There's a Drain. There is, and if you don't know the name of it, then I'm excited to mention it. But there was a project called Postcards from Cable Street. Raise your hand if you know what that is. That was organized.
Hell yeah.
Good. And I
We
think
may
that
this may
I
be
have
this
a-
may be an
I
easy
have a
crew to ask
spread
that
in-
question
I was
to.
like,
I have a spread in postcards. I didn't write anything and more layout there too, but
that's one that that I think exemplifies a lot of the things that I'd point to looking forward. A lot of what echoes what Sean was saying was because like it's it and also what Nick was saying, like I don't think it was reactive to a tragedy. It was like very focused on being like anti-fascism with like through a British lens, and kind of tapping into the history of anti-fascism in England, and that went into like the aesthetic of every page. Like, you know, you can flip through Dissident Whispers, and like was said earlier, it's just a mosaic of different contributors and inspirations, and it's just impossible to pin down because it's so much like at the same time. The postcards from Cable Street like took a direction, and one of the lessons that I remember, because I was very like I was a stone skipping off the top of that project, but I edited one of them. But one of the things that they were focusing on was like, we can't do this in 12 days. Because that's how long Dissident Whispers took to like get most of the way to completion. And that it was important to say like, hey, because we're looking to do these other things, like not be so reactive, and we're, you know, that we don't have lightning in a bottle, and how we work around, and how that's okay, because most projects won't. Just the realistic bits of dealing with that. Yeah, we're here to talk about Distant Whispers, but that's what I would say is like, you know, it might take longer, and you might have to, you know, work harder and share some jobs between each other. But, you know, what we were saying earlier, if there's a person who's in charge that really believes in something, and there's a bunch of people that are willing to help contribute toward it, that's an admirable endeavor.
Cable Street is gorgeous. Just
It's
beautiful.
so pretty. Yeah.
I need to get my physical copy. Like I got a ash can
I
of the
haven't
original
even
work.
seen it. Where do you get it at?
Exalted had some. Hopefully it's not all sold out. Do you want to grab it real quick, Ty?
Yeah.
Yeah, and Soul Muppet Publishing. Those
Soul
are the two
Muppet
places
Publishing.
that I remember that have it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Soul Muppet I knew was the primary on it in the UK, and so it is gorgeous. We talked to Luke and Jarrett both about that project, and a lot of like the learning from Dissident Whispers came up in that for Jarrett. Yeah, it's gorgeous. It's a great size. Every page of there is so good. It's also just a lot of really fun stuff. Some different things that are not just
Oh,
purely
you
game
just went right
content.
to my spread. Is it? Have I arrived if I haven't looked at a book that I have work in yet?
No, I love it. Like I said, for me, it was a huge honor for Jeremy to just ask, hey, can we use the stream to do this? And if you're out there watching right now and you're a creator and you're like, I don't know if there's a stream that's for me, like my channel is for well, when I say for everybody, it's with all the caveats of like not fascist and bigots and racists, but like it is for designers, especially designers who don't know if they have a voice out there, somebody who will be their advocate. Like that's a big part of why we created Plus One, was to uplift the entire RPG scene, and we would love to have you there. It was really funny the other day, like Madeline Ember we've got a Brave Little Toaster inspired RPG coming out with Exalted Funeral later on this month. But Madeline Ember contributed to it, and when we were working on it, we were like, she was like, hey, she was like, yeah, and Dissident Whispers, and I was like, wait, you have a spread in that? And it is my favorite one out of it. It's actually the first place I saw it, but I totally forgot that's where I see it. It's a good old fashioned murder dungeon. It was the first place I saw Madeline and Natalie's work, so Ember and Ash. And just this gorgeous page, this great economy. She also did the adventure that's at the back of iToaster, which is the game we've got coming out. But it came up during the middle of that, and it is one of those things, like Nick was saying, like you forget all the great people you discovered through the course of this project. Like there were some big names, but a lot of them were people who were just like, I have something I want to give. This is a moment I want to say something. I want to contribute to this conversation, and it's very cool to look back and see all the collaborations that have been able to be spawned out of that project. Like I think for me going forward, it will just echo what a lot of y'all have to say. The reason I joke around Dissident Whispers too is because I want it to happen in this non-reactionary space. I want us to continue to have this conversation. My biggest frustration has always been in all the work that I've done, which a lot of it has been in social work and ministry and other different places has been like people will want to have a conversation because we're excited about it right now, and then once that conversation's done and they feel emotionally sated, they're willing to just let it drop by the wayside. And for me, like the biggest reason I was excited about the invitation to be able to help host this isn't a conversation I want to see that happen to. Like, this isn't a conversation I want to see us say we did the thing one time, and we can celebrate that. Like, it's good to have done it, like Sean was saying, but the ability to say, how do we continue to keep that conversation? And the best thing about Dissident Whispers, I think, is one of the best ways you can keep the conversation going out there right now, if you're watching, is just to play these games. Like, play these games, enjoy these games, have the conversation, realize what was happening in our world at that moment and still happens in our world today, and just don't let that die. But being able to do it in a place where we're talking about kind of the juxtaposition of, like, we're gonna have a serious conversation about something that was serious, where people lost their lives. It's a huge tragedy that's impacted generation upon generation of people in our culture, and then we're gonna play a game afterwards. But the reality is that's a very human experience. Like, we deal with pain by and large in one of two ways: by mourning, by taking time to weep, or by saying, what do I do to experience joy even in spite of this as an act of rebellion against that? And I feel like Dissident Whispers captures what it means to be in rebellion through play in an incredibly powerful way, through the themes that it breaks up and through the contributors it has a lot of other ways. So I'm thankful to all of y'all for all the work you did and that you do, as well as for all the contributors who we're going to have on this week, as well as some friends who we're just going to be playing with. And so with that said, we're going to take like 6-minute break. We'll come back at the top of the hour, and we're going to play in the Pit of the Pupil. For people who are watching right now, Vi, tell us about this, whatever you can tell us about this adventure.
You know what? It's I don't remember. Oh, actually, okay. So the system I'm running it in, which is called Bastards, period. But that's very important to the title.
Yes.
Is one of the things in the back where it's talking about designing a dungeon. It says to do it around a theme, and so I just designed a little yeah. So when we come back from the break, we're going to be running through Pit of the Pupil with a prelude inspired by one of the center spreads of Dissident Whispers, which is a beautiful piece of art that Tony will put up when it's time.
I just did it now also too, because I can.
Nice.
Like,
there
we're all in weird places, but the picture's in the right place.
Good. And it's and I just wanted that. The advice in the back of that book says, design a dungeon around a theme. So I chose eyes. So we're going to play just kind of regular people in a Bloodborne-esque world. It's kind of 1984 inspired with like surveillance state, and the theme is eyes. So that is all you need to know until we start.
Awesome. If you are watching right now, or if you're watching later, this is also an excellent chance for you to stop. Go to ttrpg.link/donate. Contribute anything. Contribute $1, contribute $10. We had somebody contribute $50 earlier, which got us 10% of our way to our goal. People are all in different places. If you can't afford to contribute right now, share. If you're like, hey, I want something for contribute, go buy a digital copy of Dissident Whispers. I'll drop the link for that also too, because that'll help create things for the National Bail Fund. But if you want to just give to the Bail Project, there's a great way to do that. That's at ttrpg.link/donate. Anybody who donates all week long, we're incredibly grateful for. And that link will stay up. I think I just left it up all month long. So if you watch this later in the month, you should still be able to donate. If you can't, let me know and I'll open the link back up for you. Or just go buy a copy of Dissident Whispers or donate to a Bail Project in your community. But with that said, we're going to be right back in just a minute to play the Pit of the Pupil from Dissident Whispers. We are letting people finish chewing and taking some sips, and we will be right back. And we are back alive after a short little break. We're going to be diving into the pit of the pupil using the bastard system. By the way, I do want to give out a shout out to the creator of this game who's watching live right now, judging everything that Vi does. Micah is out there watching right now. Thank you so much for making this game. It's absolutely gorgeous. I did drop the link in earlier. I'll drop it again, and then I'll update the description of the videos later. So if you're watching later on, you'll be able to grab a link to that. It's an absolutely great system. It's on itch right now. Still in, I think, the Ashcan sale phase, I think. But there also, I think, are print copies through Spear, which, if I am correct, available right now also, too. So with that said, Vi, I'm going to hand things over to you. Oh, just one second. We always use safety tools here on the channel. We're big fans of them. We have the conversation both beforehand and on air live about lines, veils, and the X card. Lines are things that may happen in the world of our game, but don't happen in our game. We won't address them or talk about them. We do have a strong line against sexual violence on the channel. We also have veils, which are things we handle in a very specific way, or when they happen, we kind of bring them up and fade to black, or we just treat them very lightly. Then the X card is the ability for any of us at any point in time to say or type X to the GM and stop the game, clarify whatever the issue was. If it needs clarifying, there's no explanation required, though, and then move forward in a different direction. With that said, are there any lines or veils that people want to add? Or Vi, are there any caution warnings that we want to give people who are out watching?
I will start this conversation by saying there may be bones broken as part of the narrative, and there may be, though there is probably going to be some light body horror, but and also just themes of like a surveillance state in the beginning. So if that's a lot, then FYI. Anyone else?
Any other lines or veils anyone wants to add?
Yeah. Also, I'm not a big fan of like kidnapping either. I'm not a huge fan of kidnapping. If we can.
Dealio, 100%.
Cool.
All
I've
right.
never been kidnapped. I just don't like it in games for some reason. You know?
Yeah.
Okay.
Is that just out of curiosity? Is that all abductions or specifically children?
It's only like whenever the people in the party do it, right?
Gotcha.
That's when I
Oh.
don't like it. It never. It's always icky, and I don't like it.
Yeah.
Good.
Cool. All right. With that said, Vi, I'm going to hand it over to you.
All right. Alrighty then. We've got our beginning here. All right. So I don't know any of your 3 characters. So I am going to, if we could, oh, Tony, if we could put that image back up on screen, and I'm going to keep it here for my reference so that I know what I'm telling the viewers they see and what you characters see you see.
It is up.
All right.
I guess I should say it's not up for any of us. I can see it. You can see it. Jeremy and Nick cannot see it. People at home can see it.
All right. Open your page. Open your books to this page. No, but ta-da! So this is one of the illustrations in Dissident Whispers. It is of a cityscape. There are no words that accompany it, but I wanted to incorporate it into my adventures, or rather this session of game, because I didn't want to be too self-aggrandizing. There are. I said this is in a Bloodborne type universe, so it is. I think right now the sky is just like perpetually like an evening red. There are just like big old blimps that are like gliding overhead with these propeller things, and you just know there are people looking out of those windows on the carriage underneath that cast shadows under what light pierces from the moon through the clouds. Just like there are 2 or 3 you can see in the sky at any given time circling around, and the 3 of you are on a mission to, or rather a self-imposed mission to try and steal an item from I think I described it as the surveillance church because Bloodborne. But yes, there are just like I imagine like big looming Gothic skyscrapers and big old like Big Ben watchtowers that have like the huge clock faces that are just like spotlights scanning the streets. And we're gonna go from where I see everyone counterclockwise. So starting with Jeremy, we're going to, if you could roll me, got to turn to the adventure page, a D4.
D4.
Yes.
3.
All right. You are trying to find an entrance to the ruined Undercity, and I want you to describe your character and where you might look for an entrance to such a place.
Trying to find an entrance to the ruined Undercity. All right. So I'm playing Driscoll Sandelson. He is a 7 foot tall, 7 foot tall man with like almost like a cowboy hat, and a very like long and flowy, almost spawn like trench coat or duster, I guess they're called, right? And I was gonna ask, right? I rolled my dice roll for my weapon. Was I got 2 armor pieces and a heavy weapon. I got to roll twice, and then I got
Whoa,
a heavy
nice.
or ranged weapon.
Mm-hmm.
I was just wondering if it could just be both.
Oh,
Like
I
a-
love that. That's
like
very
like a gun blade.
absolutely. That's
Okay.
very in the spirit of
So I'm
Bloodborne.
gonna-
I said that word, so it's already done.
So I'm
It's
gonna
too
go
late.
ahead and do Gunblade for my but he keeps this massive Gunblade in a guitar case that he carries. I think that I think I'm kind of thinking of an anime, but I can't remember which one. It's either like Hellsing or Gungrave. Actually, that's for sure. I'm actually thinking of the main character of Gungrave, but a
Good.
brown guy, right?
Good. Okay, cowboy hat and duster casting a long shadow staying out of the spotlights. Do you want to come up with a place that you're looking for an entrance to the ruined Undercity? Or do you want me to pass that off to another player?
Oh,
I'll give
yeah.
you a
I
minute.
guess I'm looking for the. I don't know much about Bloodborne, but you said the word church, right?
Mhm.
So I guess there is like a ruined Gothic church that's maybe rumored to have like an entrance to the Undercity. It's of the time or something like that. So.
Beautiful, beautiful. You walk into this like church with stained glass windows just blown out. It's like at like a 10-degree angle, just like drooping into the ground. You go in and as the rumor said, you have you like you fill the font up all the way and then let it drain, and you hear something click behind the walls and find a secret door that leads down a staircase. Toward the ruined Undercity. Tony, you are not far behind, and I want you to tell me what your character is, and I think I'll have Nick roll the other d4. So I just need to know what your character is and what you how you feel about this abandoned church break-in followed by Undercity exploration.
My character is a relatively dapper, has kind of a short top hat on. I'm sure there's a name for that specific type of rounded square hat with a little bit of height, but not too much on. Kind of cocked to the side, a long coat, not quite a duster, and I'll carry a violin case because we'll just keep things on theme that have 2 dueling pistols, and he's got kind of like a heavy chest piece because I rolled armor and a ranged weapon.
Dang, okay.
And but contrary to like as much as certain things look similar, if you were to look at the silhouettes of these characters not next to each other, if you were to put Throckmorton next to Driscoll, Throckmorton is about half of a little over half of Driscoll's height, so about 4'5", very very short and slight individual, but incredibly posh and dapper at the same time. I'm not excited to be going underground. Like I'm really not into that. I would like to go to a local eating establishment and just have a fine meal for the evening, but apparently we're going down into the dank earth, and that's what we're doing now. That's fine, I guess.
Mm-hmm. You heard I'm gonna say that the other options were you caught a couple leads, but this was the most trustworthy. The other ones were maybe going into the miasmic catacombs or the reptilian sewers, or even you had to go all the way out to the outskirts of the city to find a way in through the unstable mines. So this seems like the worst of 4 evils, really.
Yeah, I was like, the other ones I was like, nope, nope, nope. And then we got to this one and I was like, well, I said nope to all the other ones. And so
seems like a trustworthy gentleman. Nick, you are I'm gonna say you can either choose to be catching up like on the heels, running late, or like standing imposingly, like already where they're trying to be, ahead of them, as you describe your character and roll me a d4.
All right, so I will roll a d4 first.
Okay.
Which I got a 1.
Okay, I'll let you know.
Excellent. So I like the latter suggestion there of having sort of been already there. So my character, I will be playing Etta Sinclair, who is a thief, an experienced thief. She is kind of a cross between I don't know if any of you have seen I'm sure people on the stream have, but you remember the Atlantis cartoon? So you remember Helga Sinclair, kind of a cross between her and Carmen Sandiego. And if I'm already waiting there, I think I'm like smoking a cigarette in one of those super long cigarette holders, and like that's the only thing that you can see kind of in the shadows. And I'm just like, well, took you boys long enough to get here, because I'm assuming we all know each other? ?
Yeah, you can all decide that, but enough acquainted that you trust each other enough to do this together.
Yes.
So who are we stealing the object for? Is this for monetary gain or is this for a cause?
This is for however you feel. If you want to, you know that it would set back the surveillance church somewhat to lose this. You know that it could probably sell for quite a bit. You might be able to find a way to use it for your own gain. So those are your three options. Divide them amongst yourselves.
Also,
I'm definitely here
Micah,
for personal gain.
yeah, Micah has said that every time Nick drinks Gamer Fuel, we all have to take a shot, apparently.
I'm not sure which the gamer fuel is because I have, as usual, a variety of beverages at my disposal. So
Multiple types of Gamer Fuel.
I think it might be the giant purple water bottle.
Okay.
Good.
I'll take a drink to that.
Yeah.
Good.
Gotta stay hydrated.
That's right.
I love all of your characters so far. I don't know what I've done, but I love all of you. You all okay, the number that you rolled, actually, Nick, was that funnily enough, the entrances to the ruined Undercity, or rather this entrance perhaps, because it seems like it wasn't too hard to find to your own benefit. The one you rolled was that the entrances are closely guarded. So I want to know how you bypass those with your thieving skills, because you get to do it in media res because of the dice results. We're at the whim of the dice here.
Okay, so what kind of defenses are we talking about here?
So closely guarded. I'm thinking, how did you manage to avoid the ever gazing eyes of the surveillance church, or its proxies that were on the streets and in the skies? How did your thieving skills help you there?
Okay, well, I'm used to working in the shadows and typically working alone. Also, as with any good thief/secret agent, I have my tactical turtleneck on, which is very expensive and stylish. So being able to blend in the shadows with the help of tactical turtleneck.
I love that. You managed to bypass the defenses and mislead anyone who was watching the entrance long enough for Driscoll and Throck to just waltz right in, much to the benefit of all three of you. You make your way through the ruined Undercity based on the navigation knowledge of the city above, heading toward this like huge what you know is above you, like a gigantic like Notre Dame cathedral, and you know that big circular stained glass window. There's constantly a light being projected through it, so that there's this image of an eye just like making up the center of this circular courtyard that stands in front of it.
Creepy.
And yes, and you're following the sound of just like this low hum of this distant chanting, leading you through this labyrinthian Undercity, full of just angled walkways and like half buried facades, until eventually it seems the noise is coming from only a few chambers away. You're in a rectangular corridor that opens up, and now is the time for zooming back in the narrative time scale, because you see at the end of this rectangular corridor, rather than a dead end or a set of optional turns, it opens up into a bit of a larger chamber that you can't quite see, but that seems to be lit by a little bit of a purple glow. Whoever wants to take charge, feel free.
Well, I think Driscoll. Of course, it's
Too much Gamer
Jeremy.
Fuel.
It's of course Jeremy. No, I think Driscoll would probably, even though he's an assassin, he's probably not like super what is it, careful about like if he gets caught, he just like kills the people who catch him or whatever if he can.
Just open up
Right?
that violin case. Or
Just
no,
yeah,
you got the
guitar. I have the guitar case.
uh-huh.
Guitar case, yeah.
Yeah, Brock has the. Is it Brock or Throck?
It's I just took the name Throckmorton and cut it in half, and so it's Throckmorton.
Good.
Okay, I had Brock. All right, so yeah, I will just be in front, kind of carrying my guitar case, and just heading charging forward with very little regard to whatever might be in my way.
Beautiful. Your footsteps are nice and echoey, which is kind of nice actually on the ears. You step into this, or rather, you step onto the lip of this chamber. It seems there's a walkway that used to continue directly in front of you that since has crumbled away to nothing into the circular watery pit that you see just like a couple feet below you. Across the pit from you, there is just this rusted, rickety, like creaking old ladder. Like just the wind blowing by is just like making it creak. That leads up to another like offshoot. The singing, the chant, the droning is louder here, seeming to come from directly above. And as you look up at this kind of conical chamber, you see that about halfway up, a staircase with a crumbling edge seems to kind of continue upward, leading to the center top of this chamber and out. That seems like the way that you would that seems like your primary goal. In front of you, you see there is the the watery pit below, out of which like the water is just like thick and grimy, has this like opaque film on top, but piercing through it are several stone posts. Some of which are like sharpened on top, some of which have flat surfaces that you might be able to step on. And that is the and the purple glow is coming from just like this luminescent like moss that is clinging to the walls all around.
So there's like purple bioluminescent moss all over the walls.
And they're just like beautifully smooth. It looks like they were polished when this chamber was in use, which seems like it's fallen into complete disrepair and maybe even forgotten to the annals of history.
How far across is the murky water with the stepping stones?
Like 10 feet. So, and yeah, the stepping stones are like these like posts that are about the size of half of a shoe, and you'd have to. There's 12 of them, I believe, just sticking out of the water, but it's not enough to make the jump. But it does get thinner as you go up. So, yeah.
Is there any? Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
Is there any like loose stones or bricks in the wall at all?
Yeah. You look down at where the like I said, the walkway used to continue like partially into this chamber, probably to start the spiral staircase going up. You can reach down at your feet and kind of tear a block away.
I'm gonna grab one and toss it at one of the stepping stones, maybe somewhere in the middle or something like that.
Deal. Do you want to try landing on the stepping stone or knocking at it or into the water or what?
I'm just trying, just trying my best to land it like I would be tossing it like you're playing cornhole or something like that, trying to get it to land directly on top of one of the things. It doesn't have. I'm not trying to get it to stay there necessarily, but hit it, like put weight on the top of it.
Deal. Just for fun, to see if you can get it to stand to hit it and stay on top, just roll me a strength check. Have a first roll of the game, or rather a third, because I did have you roll on this table.
I'm not gonna roll that one because I can't see the numbers. I got a 1.
Dang.
So I think that's good, right? That's a
yeah.
crit.
You toss it up with just the perfect arc and the perfect spin that actually like lands on it and then just like spins like a disc on top, and it just like click click, and it just stays there just beautifully. About a moment later, the 12 pillars like shift a little bit, and they like move like 2 inches closer to you, leaving like tiny ripples in the water. It seems, yeah.
Is there anything in the ceiling above us, say, that I could attach a rope to?
The ceiling is quite far up. This is about
Right.
like a let's see, if it's like a 40-foot chamber, you're quite down below the surface right now. If you were trying to attach something, there is a there's like a banister, and it doesn't make sense because what it's actually doing is like hugging the wall instead of like the opening to the pit below. And so if you could find a place where it looks sturdy enough, and you could get purchase, then you could loop it up there. You could try the rickety ladder that's across the pool. It looks like if you were able to get up to the chamber that's like across the way and up a little bit, you might be able to get a better throw at the staircase, because it starts crumbling a little bit below that chamber opening.
Right. But there's nowhere immediately that, like, if I had a rope that I could attach something to and like swing across the pit, not so much.
No.
Okay.
You said the ladder is across, and I guess I heard that originally as on the other side. Is it on the other side, or is it spanning?
Oh, it is. It climbs the wall opposite you.
Okay.
That
is what I understood. I just wanted to make sure, since I heard you say across, that I'd heard it correctly.
Well, I think we're just going to have to... You said there were 12 stones?
Mm-hmm.
And they all moved a little closer to us?
In complete unison.
In complete unison.
Interesting. I think we're just going to have to try and hop across as quickly as possible.
It's very possible.
So...
Or how do we know they're not all a monster?
It could be. I guess we're gonna find out. I'm gonna throw caution to the wind, and I'm just gonna try and do the hop across the heads of the crocodiles, so to speak.
Yeah. All right, with the step. 1 moment.
Yeah.
All right. It is a row of 4 deep across and 3 wide. So you've got that on you. Agility and reflex sounds like the test of the day. So make me a dexterity check.
All right. That is a failure. I rolled a 15, and I have 10 dexterity.
All right. You're hopping across. You're doing like a step. You kind of kick off the side of one that's a little spiked on top, and your foot finds purchase on the next one, nice and solidly. But the stone that Driscoll threw on it just like slips out from underneath you, and you and the stone plop right into the water. You're just like, you're treading water, and you're just like covered in muck.
Oh, disgusting.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder if that turtleneck is expensive now.
Was there any reaction from the stones as he was traveling, or she was traveling across?
The stones themselves, they move like the 3 inches back toward, or well, I guess more than 3, like 6 inches back toward where they were standing originally, all in unison again. So you feel the water just slightly undulate around you, and yeah.
So I'm just treading water right now. So obviously the water is deep enough that like I can't touch bottom.
Do you want to tip? If you not, yeah, it's just deep enough. So if you want to like dip your toes down to see if you can find purchase, as you are doing that, you feel something underneath your toes. It feels
get me
like
the hell out of here.
It feels like a surface. Your foot kind of like slides on it a little bit, and then something grabs your ankle.
Awesome. And like all the way down grabs my ankle, sort of.
Yeah, it's like it just like
I guess the first thing I'm going to do is scream really loud.
It echoes beautifully, just like into the ruined Undercity and up above.
and then I'm going to grab my knife and start stabbing.
All right, you tag your knife out. You're in the water right now. It seems like this thing it feels like a second creature or a second hand. You're not sure. Grabs a little bit higher up as you start stabbing furiously into the water. Just make an attack roll. You can't see your attacker right now, so with disadvantage, just make your attack roll.
Right. Hold on a sec. Nope, that's a 20.
Oh damn!
Rip.
Okay.
Go ahead and roll up your backup character. And,
You're slashing
Yeah.
around. What are the other two of you doing as she's just squirming around in the water, just like tossing the skim off the surface, just making a little pool of it around her?
How far from the top of the water are we? Is it like?
It's like 1 foot from the lip of where you're standing.
I think as soon as they would have fallen into the muck, I would have been over there with my guitar case, one hand on the handle, trying to offer like a way to be pulled out.
The way out, yeah.
Good. Yeah, you see him like offering the guitar case cord toward you.
I was probably doing that as I was asking if the if the turtleneck
If my turtleneck was still worth anything.
worth anything.
Right. Yeah. And she like starts swimming toward you, but then screams bloody murder as something is getting her in the water. Are you more interested in attacking this thing or in trying to grab the guitar case?
Probably the guitar case. The slashing thing was more just to like try and get whatever's holding on to stop. But escape is definitely the number one priority.
Good. Yeah, she grabs the guitar case and with like a slucking sound, you make like a little wake through the grime on top, and as you're doing this, I'm going to say you're focused on helping Etta out, but Throck, as you're surveying this, you look down and through the little the clear bit that's been made in the water here, you look down and see that what's grabbing onto Etta's ankle is in fact a skeleton. It is just like holding on
Skeletons
to to Etta's leg.
I like as Etta is getting pulled towards us, I will get in position to like brain that thing with the butt end of my violin case.
Good. You're like holding that high.
Right.
I like how we still haven't like drawn the weapons out of the cases.
it's
still
We
building
actually
up
just have
till when
enchanted music cases. Not even
They're just instruments. I don't know what you're so worried about.
it's like once upon the mariachi, but
Once upon a time in Mexico, yeah.
You all so it's not too hard to pull Etta toward the side, and once you get there, you're able to like start clambering up, and the moment that the skeleton breaches the surface, Throck, are you there?
Yeah.
All right, make a melee attack roll. As you said, you're hitting it with the violent case.
And that's strength, right?
It is strength. They're
That's
rolling under strength.
It's a horrible choice for me. I definitely should have pulled that gun out. Oh, I rolled a 4. Yay!
Nice, good. As the skeleton breaches the surface, you hear a oh thank, and then you smack it, and it just like flies back into the water. And Etta, you're able to scramble out completely. No longer, nothing is gripping your leg. It seems to have gotten loose when it was hit with a violin case.
Well, that was disgusting. Someone else can go first next time. Yeah.
Nick, what's your character's name again? I forgot to write it down.
It's Etta.
Etta, that's okay. Etta, did you just say thank you?
I'm thanking you now.
Oh, this isn't a manners consultation. Someone just said thank you.
I mean, I just pulled her out of the water.
Right. No. I just want to clarify.
No, I know. I haven't properly thanked either of you. I was too busy being disgusted.
I mean, I distinctly heard somebody say thank you, but
I'm gonna like dip my like water skin. So I'm gonna like take the strap of my water skin and like hold it down like at the edge of the water, like kind of fishing with it.
Okay. As you do this, you like let it go down and like just like almost touching the surface, and you see the water like eddies a little bit underneath it, but that's as far as anything happens.
I'm sorry. And I like dip it all the way down into the water.
All right. You dip it down in. The strap is able to sink enough. You eventually feel like just like a tug on the strap.
I'm gonna try to pull it back up.
Okay, Etta, you're like emptying water out of your boots.
Yes,
As as Throck is fishing,
trying to
towards-
wring out the turtleneck.
Oh, yep. You've caught a bite, Throck, and you pull it above the water, and being dragged up by one hand is the top half of a skeleton, that is like faux coughing up water. Oh, I forgot. Also, could you just roll a d6 for me?
Yeah.
Cool.
1.
Okay, cool. Just like a slight skull fracture. Which was not. I mean, the skull was right there.
That fracture could have already been there. We have no idea where that fracture came from.
It's true.
So.
It's true. Just like coughing and then like sternly makes eye contact with you, like if it could scowl. The skeleton is now scowling, and says, "Well, that wasn't very friendly of you."
Well, I mean, grabbing someone under the water isn't very friendly either.
I've been down there for I don't know how long I've been down there. Look what's left of me. And just like looks down from holding onto your water skin thing and like starts swinging and is like, could I like I said, just the top half of a skeleton. Just like,
well, I mean, no matter, and I'll say this as like I'm pulling them over to the ground. No matter how long you've been underwater, like grabbing somebody without their permission is not an appropriate act for a gentleman.
Woman, but thank you very much. And just like lays down on the ground. You notice
Is
that
this very common? Is there like, are we used to skeletons talking at all?
no, this is unusual, and to the same the same unusualness. The skull, I said it was making eye contact with you because both of its eyes are still intact. It seems to be the only thing besides the bones that have not degraded.
Is there any way I can like search my knowledge to see if there's any kind of, if I've ever heard of like animated skeletons or what their deal
This
is?
has been you kind of like rack your brains. You're staring at this thing. This is either necromant, like really advanced, like long lasting necromancy that just kind of was the result of which was discarded, or just like the result of just like weird ambient magic that's just let this happen. But so it's either like a very, very powerful practitioner or just like a complete accident.
But we do know about magic and shit.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
okay. Yeah. All right. Dope. Yeah. This looks magic.
Or certainly something. So who are you and why have you been down in this pit for this long?
Well, I gave her a name. We're gonna use that. Yeah, she says, my name's Leona, and I was sacrificed here forever ago. I don't know much else. It was creepy. There was about a lot of chanting. I don't know what you want from me. I know what I want from you. If you could please get me out of here, that'd be great. I've been resting on the surface of a gigantic eyeball for 100 years.
A gigantic eyeball?
You rush over to the surface and look down. Through the bit that's been pushed away of the opaque film that's on the surface of the water, you see all 12 posts just shift a little bit more toward you, and a enormous eyeball into which these gigantic stone stakes have been driven is occupying the bottom of this well, like underneath the layer of water.
Cool.
This is that looks magic too.
She's like, I wouldn't know anything about that. Well, I know it's there, but
Just
I thought you were going to
clarification.
say that the posts were the eyelashes.
I was 100% ready for post
Right?
eyelashes.
Is this skeleton? Sorry, what was her name again? Leona.
Leona, yes.
Leona is so. When you were saying that she's just half of a skeleton, like was that just the half that was visible from being pulled out of the water, and now that she's pulled out of the water, or
No,
is
just
it
like-
literally
Yeah,
just the top
detached
half
at
of the skeleton?
spine. Yeah.
Okay, so Leona, let me get this straight. You were sacrificed here forever ago,
Yes.
and now you want us to carry you around piggyback out of
Please.
here. But
Yes.
here's the problem, love. We're going in, not out. See, there's something that we have to get from inside. If you have any information on that.
See, I really don't know if you're gonna survive, so that's not a bet that I'm keen on taking, but
But we're
I
not.
mean-
we're not taking you out.
I mean,
We're,
you
go-
seem
we're
kinda
going
like-
in.
yeah. Oh, I see. So I would like to be taken out, though. That's what I'm saying here. I'm if you could tell me your names, that would help humanize you to me. That's why I told you mine. But like, hopefully you'll want to bring me out of here. I didn't like being in
Apologies,
there.
Leona. My name is Etta, and we're going in. So I think you can either go back in the pit, or you could come in with us. Are your options, darling?
Are you? I mean, you could. I'm Throck. You could stay here.
I could try to crawl out. I don't know where the hell I am. I'll come in with you. You know, that sounds like a good idea. Okay.
If there are guards outside. If they found you, you would probably go back in the pit. I don't know much about magical sacrifice, but I think when you're sacrificed, you're supposed to stay sacrificed.
Yeah.
I think this is
So if
totally
you-
illegal. Definitely illegal.
So us taking you out, we've kind of unsacrificed you. Do you get what I'm saying? You've been No, we don't want to re-sacrifice you. You've been unsacrificed.
Well, that's okay. Good. Okay. Well, I can tell you.
I mean, it doesn't seem like the sacrifice was even really successful. It seems to have the whole soul, right? Like the soul.
I don't know if
still
it's. I don't know what the whole process there is, honestly. But it it wasn't fun for me, you know.
Is
I
the
can
rest
tell
of you down there?
I have no idea.
Can you
know.
like if you like kick? Can you?
No, I can't. No.
It's a problem for later.
Yeah.
So do you know anything that can help us address what's inside?
Yes, they are mean motherfuckers, and they killed me. I was just listen. I just kind of. I didn't participate in this. I wasn't really willing here, you know. I was just like, oh, I kind of hope this will go my way. What year is it?
We tell her the year.
Yep. She's like,
Longer than you thought.
Well, I wasn't really counting. I didn't really have a frame of reference, so don't fault me that. Well,
did they when they were like? I mean, I know it was a very traumatic moment for you. I don't want to ask you to do to relive it, but like, did they say anything? Was it like while we summoned this giant eyeball? Was there like really key words or phrases that stand out to you?
Well, the eyeball was already there, as were the
giant eyeball
sticks.
gonna want to come with us too? We're gonna have to take a giant eyeball and a skeleton with us.
We're not taking the giant eyeball.
I don't want the giant eyeball to come. If it wasn't much for conversation, if it starts talking now, honestly, I'd mostly be just angry with it.
Upset? Yeah, that
Yeah.
does make sense.
But yes, that was already there. There was so I have been replaying this moment over and over again for 100 years. So I'm glad that I am able to help you now with it. It felt rather improper actually, because the whole thing felt very nice. These nice folks in hoods and everything in all these alcoves all the way down the stairs. As I saw it on my way down in toward the eyeball. The person pushing me down really made it a really anticlimactic moment right at the very end, because they said to me, "Don't break your bones on the way down," like it was a joke, and then just kind of pushed, like, let go. And then I did at the bottom. It seemed to have worked. I don't know, and then it was just a long time, and I lost, well, most of me.
So this water wasn't here before?
And now that's just kind of, there was a flood, and I guess it drained through the well, whatever's here now. Sewers? Did you come through the sewers? You look gross.
The underground. Yeah. I mean, well, thank you.
Well, I mean, no thanks to this little whatever is going on here. This, I'll have you know, is a very expensive tactical turtleneck.
Ooh.
The way that she is
not
it gently used tactical turtleneck.
The way that she was describing coming down, does it sound like she came down the same way as us to this point?
No, she described like falling. So she was released from the top and just kind of fell like from the narrowest.
She said like alcoves on the way down the stairs. Was that the way we came, or is that the other direction?
No, you see, there are some stairs that remain in this chamber.
So it's like this. It was like this going up.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well.
It's like a backwards dungeon.
Okay. It also
you go down and then go up.
Can I go ahead and say also, like, now that I know that these rods are sticking into a giant eyeball, like it, like, you know how like when you think about a sensation, sometimes you feel that sensation. Like right now, I'm feeling that sensation. Like I don't know that I can jump across.
Yeah. I mean, what if we just
please. I mean, I hate that thing.
Sticks out of the eyeball. I mean, it also could be the eyeball of like a very huge thing, right? Like it could be like a giant, like under there, just trapped in there, and they got like stakes in his eyeball.
But you're not making the feeling is still like it's there. Now. Yeah. I can't get it out.
At least the water's there now. Honestly,
I have to imagine that was horribly irritating because it couldn't blink.
Yeah. The dry eye is definitely not a problem anymore.
Yeah. I mean, really, I think we should just push forward and stop thinking about it.
I have a very weird question for you, and I don't want to come across as improper. Can you feel anything?
No. What are you What are you hinting at here?
I mean. Like, you are wonderful, but there's also a level of incompleteness to your existence right now. And I'm just wondering, what if you were less complete and therefore more mobile?
More mobile, yeah.
There are the advantages, disadvantages, different,
Mostly disadvantages at this point in time.
For me personally, I'm bones. If I had more, but I'm just bones right now.
Like if we get you more bones, like is that a good thing?
That might be nice. Yeah, I'd love that.
Or like what about
you've all got plenty of bones. Sorry, that seemed kind of aggressive. I don't have practice with this.
Not giving you any of mine.
It's new for all of us.
Well, like you could get a horse and you could ride the horse around all the time eventually or something.
I could become an urban legend.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, you could also maybe find a dead body that's walking around that doesn't have a head, that's looking for a head, and
I need to get out of here first, though. So that's kind of honestly my
first priority. Use the restroom really quick, guys.
That's fine. Because like I couldn't tell whether that was character voice or Jeremy voice for a second. It was like a mix.
Walks over to the big eyeball pool. It's like, oh.
So I guess my first, we'll just do a little bit of interrogating the fiction for a second. So I go over to the pit and I'm like, eyeball, and I like yell.
Unfortunately, no response. It is already like angled toward you as much as it seems to be able.
And then I guess I go, "What's that?" And I point at the other side.
You know, we shall see. No response. No response.
Dang it. It's like, can we just ride these things across? Like, and actually, I'll light a torch and I'll kind of wave it back and forth above the water and see if I can get the eyeballs.
That does seem to give a response, actually. Yeah, you light the torch, and it stays in place. You kind of give it to the right, a little bit to the left, and the torch and all the pillars kind of move with it as it rotates.
So I guess I want to try to move the pillars as close to us as possible, making it as easy as possible to get on.
Nice. All right. Yeah, you put the torch that you have lit as close to like your ledge as possible, and one of those pillars actually like kind of like taps against the ledge that you're standing on.
Okay. I guess I'm gonna step on it and
Okay.
try to like trace the like put it out in front of me, like put the torch out in front of me to try to guide the eyeball across.
Deal. Okay. This is wonderful. Because I mean, like, it's been really smooth so far. I want you to roll roll a dexterity check with advantage. Do that for me.
I rolled a 15 and a 4.
Nice. All right. Assuming you don't have total crap dexterity.
I have 15 dexterity, so.
Oh, okay. Yeah, just like the picture of grace and elegance. It like follows the torch over. You get about like halfway across before, like I said, there's 4 rows of these things. You get a good way across, and only a couple stone steps away is this rickety ass ancient metal ladder.
I'm gonna try to make my way across them to the ladder.
Okay, I'm gonna say with those rolls you did earlier, you do a tap, 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 and your hand is against the wall, ladder in front of you.
I pull on the ladder, not trusting the GM at all.
You pull on a lower rung of the ladder and just immediately pull like the bottom 3 rungs just completely out of the wall, just like nails pulling brick dust with them, just like dust on the water surface. Yeah, you just find yourself holding 3 rungs of ladder.
Cool.
There's still enough like right above you. You could pull yourself up, but you'd have to be. You described yourself as rather
very
short.
small. Like I'm a very light individual.
I think of the 3 of you, your stature is it seems to be the best for this job for getting up here.
Yeah, so it left holes in the brick. Can I, like, if I try to, like, are there nails through the, is it like a metal ladder?
Yeah.
And can I try to, like, I want to try to jam one of the things that came off back into one of the holes to kind of make a place to step.
Okay, you are still holding it. Okay, you lean across. You've got like 2 feet on just like a tiny stone circle right now. You're leaning against it. You jam it back into place and give it a little wiggle, and it seems like these lower ones they might hold your weight, and the upper ones might be a little more or a little less.
Sure,
sturdy.
I'm gonna try to get myself up on that new step that I've made by sticking one of the steps in sideways.
Deal. I love that. Oh, I see. You like one of the rungs. Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah, like I took one of the rungs out.
Yeah,
and I jammed the rung into one of the holes since the brick was softer and used it to create a stepping point.
Gotcha. Okay, I like that. Okay, then I'm gonna say that sounds like a really fun plan. So you got one in, and this one's really sturdy. You're able to like do a half pull up, and you've got the ladder above you. To climb up the rest, it'll be like making yourself as light as possible and like dividing your weight between this sturdy post you've made and the rest of the ladder.
Is there like a doorway up there or anything?
Yeah, so it eventually leads to an open chamber that you couldn't quite. The angle was wrong. You couldn't.
I mean, I
press
guess I'll
into
go like once I'm up on the step, I'll go ahead and toss the rest of my stuff like over. Can I just like? Is it like? Can I just toss my stuff up?
Yeah, you could probably you could toss it up just fine, but it's a little bit out of reach. It's going to be
Yeah,
it's
that's fine.
another
I just want to toss all my. I want to make me lighter.
good. Oh, I love that. Beautiful. All right, make another dex check with advantage. You're already good at this shit. All right, you're doing good.
So deving an OSR system for the last 2 months will get you.
I was gonna say this is all
critical. That was a 1. I rolled a 1.
beautiful.
Hell yeah.
Okay, you toss your stuff up there, and with like a just like there's a beautiful little piano soundtrack in the background with each of your handholds, and you make it up to the ledge that you're inside of. It seems like just a dead end single chamber. You have climbed about 10 feet or a little bit more above the surface of the water and the stone posts. So not a small fall. And you're kind of sitting on this edge, and as you look across, double checking your steps here, it's good. You see that the stairs across the way they end a little bit lower than you are right now. The room that you're in, its walls are all pockmarked with like little gnarled formations just all across the walls. What do all of you do?
I relay that information to everybody.
Beautiful.
So we're still
On the other
down
side. Yeah.
on the other side of the. Okay, so at this point, I will grab Leona,
Okay.
and yeah, just kind of piggyback. And I'm like, well, I guess we're going to get very well acquainted over the next little while, and then I'm going to walk across instead of just trying to sprint across. I'm just going to walk across the stepping stones and like take my time this time.
Deal. All right. Taking your time as you do, there's just the unpleasant awareness of how there's just the smallest amount of give, but you notice every millimeter as you're stepping on these. And you as you do like a step, and Leona's just commenting on your balance as you do. And I'll say, for the sake of it, you get to the other side as our other hero Throck did. And as you do, Throck, you hear a tip behind you, or rather further into the chamber that you're sitting on the edge of.
A tip, like, hey, here's what it sounds like right before a stove goes off, or a tip, like water dropping, or a tip, like something, like tapping on something, or some other type of tip.
Yeah, a tip, like something fell to the ground, like and settled, like a bounce, settle.
I mean, I'll go. I have a torch. I'll go look.
Okay, you hold it up, however you hold the torch, and you walk over and you see just like a little rock sitting on the ground around like just little other pieces of stone and rubble, and then you hear another one to your left, tip.
Cool.
And you look over just in time to like watch the shadow bouncing as another like stone pebble has fallen to the ground.
I'm gonna move my back towards the doorway again.
Okay.
And just kind of keep an eye towards the room.
Okay, you're walking out back toward that way as Edda. You're feeling how great this job has been, getting the iron bar in the wall, just admiring the ingenuity. And as Throck, you start backing away toward the edge, and in front of you, as you're holding the torch, casting 1, then 2, then 5 shadows out of the walls, these gnarled formations, these spherical stones are popping, pop, brrr, like landing on the ground. These marble-like stones are falling, and then they begin to independently roll toward you, all in unison. And I need to use the restroom, so we're going to pause there.
We'll take another 5-minute break, and we'll come right back.
All right, beautiful.
All right, sounds good.
This is definitely going.
While we are on a break real quick, I just wanted to remind everybody that we are collecting during the course of the next couple of days to support the Bail Project. The Bail Project believes in decarceration. It believes in creating more equitable systems for how we pursue justice in the U.S. and specifically looking at dismantling how our current bail system works. In addition to paying bail for individuals, they also are currently having conversations and leading initiatives to examine why bail as a process favors people of different classes and ethnic backgrounds over everybody as a whole system, and how if we're innocent until proven guilty, that bail is part of a system of injustice that is perpetrated on the poor and on marginalized communities. If you want to help contribute to that, go ahead and go to ttrpg.link/donate as they continue to help cover bail costs for people who can't afford it, as well as helping examine that conversation on a larger scale. That's again ttrpg.link/donate, and we will be right back.
Yeah.
All right. If you are watching live right now and you owned Crossfire when you were a kid, go ahead and let us know in the chat below. Also, if you want to make a Crossfire-inspired RPG, we would all buy it, apparently, as long as you sing the jingle as part of your crowdfunding campaign. With that said, I'm going to hand things back over to Vi to lead us through this marble challenge that we have going on.
Beautiful, beautiful. All right. You are you're cautiously backing up toward away from toward the entrance, and these things are rolling toward you. There are just a whole slew of them that pop out of the wall and then just begin independently mobilizing their way toward you. And what is your reaction as you approach the entrance and they approach you?
Yeah, so they're on the ground, correct? Like they are,
Yes.
and they are marble sized.
Yes.
Um,
But like the shooters, like the big,
right?
like the
Yeah,
big
yeah, yeah,
models.
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, we're all marble
Oh,
pros
good.
here.
Yeah.
And so, I think as I see them kind of running towards me, I'm gonna wait till they're like 4 or 5 feet away from me, then like rush and kick them all back, as many of them back into the room as I can. Like,
Awesome. Yeah, you wait and then you run forward and just like kick a whole foot full of them. They can't control themselves in midair, it appears, as you send a bunch of them flying away. As you bring your other foot down, it seems that a couple of them roll directly under where they expect your foot to land, and you step on them with like a cartoon, like father stepping on a toy car kind of thing, right?
Yeah.
Make a dexterity check for me, please. Do not fall to the ground.
I rolled a 3.
Awesome. Okay. Where do you want to be? Put yourself wherever you want.
If having rolled a 3, I can do like a handspring away, I think that would be my preference.
Beautiful. You do a handspring, and on your way over, you just like with your hands on the ground. It happens to be exactly where your guitar case is, just as you planned, and you finish holding it.
Right.
Cowboy hat, perfectly, secured.
Deeper
into the chamber.
Yeah, this would have to be deeper into the chamber based on I think positioning. But then I'm gonna kind of do this, like I kicked some back here, and now I think I'm gonna drift base. My goal is now, instead of reverse, I feel bad about it, but I'm gonna make these small little round balls go where the big round ball is, and just like start kicking them out the doorway instead.
Awesome. I'll say that we just cut back to Edda, and just like a couple little stones, like you hear them whistling and then plink off the far wall and just like plonk into the water around you, as you are there.
We have some aggressive marbles up here.
I see. Okay. So I'm going to use my thief ability to test luck to see if I have something small and useful in my pocket, in which case a rope to help me get up.
Beautiful.
Would be very helpful. So I have a luck of 7. So we're going to try and roll under a 7.
Okay.
Which I have not been able to do yet. I got a 3, so my luck goes down to 6. I get a rope.
You got a rope.
And I would... so if I understand correctly, there was the sort of the base that Throck used to kind of scurry up, and then there was the remains of the ladder, but the ladder is pretty rickety, right?
Right.
So if I like hopped up onto the sort of spike that he drove in, and then hooked a rope maybe on the top,
there's like a little relief on top that you can just like
if I could hook that on, and then that way I wouldn't have to put so much weight on the ladder, and then if the ladder does collapse, and also that way so Driscoll can get up behind me as well.
Driscoll, what are you doing in this moment?
I mean, I imagine that I'll walk across just like she did. Probably the thing sinking a little bit more because I'm way bigger. As those like rocks and pebbles are kind of falling into the water, into the eyeball around me, and then getting over there and helping Ada if need be, or waiting for the rope to be secured so I can climb up.
Dealio. A couple things all at once. One, Tony as Throck is kicking these pebbles over the edge, and dancing around, trying not to step on any more. A couple of them that don't quite make it into the water, as the rope gets thrown up, they seem to be like waiting by the edge of the chamber. You're getting a couple more of them away though, and I'm going to check something here. Edda, with the rope that you have thrown up and secured, you're able to make your dex check with advantage. Hopefully, just an easy check. You're very likely to make it up without any more problems.
Okay. So, thank you, advantage. I got a 12 and a 5, so
Nice.
5 beats my 10, so I'm up.
You're able to hear where that creaking is and hold a little more onto the rope as you, instead of where your feet are placed, and make it up toward the top.
Perfect.
As you do, you see several rows of marbles that are just sitting there with just like crude circles carved into them. They just all are staring at you. Just like as you look above, there's just like several rows that are that like are just, there's just like just enough space for you to grab on and get yourself up, but it seems like they're anticipating your arrival.
Hi. I'm Edda, and this is my new friend.
Fuck.
We come in relative peace.
You say this, and then I like come up and I kick like 5 of them into the water.
Throck, make a strength check. This is for like a melee thing, and then roll me a d6.
No, I didn't. I did not. I mean, like, I didn't make it. So.
All right. What did you roll for your class?
I'm a thief.
You're a thief?
Yeah.
All right. Where are we?
My foot just whiffs right in the air right above some of them right as you say that.
Yes. As you do, Edda, you're getting ready for this, but as Throck misses another kick, they all, the ones that are facing you, stop paying attention to you for a minute. They turn around and they all face Throck all at the same time. Throck, you feel yourself just like suddenly like consumed by a kind of stage fright. And I want to use these like saving throws. So make me a wisdom check real quick.
I make it by 1.
All right. It seems like they are trying to do more than scare you, but they failed to do so. Edda, you're up. These things aren't paying attention to you for the moment.
I'm going to scramble the rest of the way up, and then I'm going to call down to Driscoll to say, the rope should support you, but don't mind the eyes.
Don't mind the eyes.
There's like a plunk in front of you as you repeat this to yourself.
There's just a lot of, I mean, do you mean like regular eyes? Is this like a metaphorical eye? Like,
no, so those stones are looking at us, or rather they're looking at Throck right now. So
Throck's just like,
you got anybody seeing any kind of connections between everything? I'm saying this as I've got my guitar strapped and pulling my way. Just a lot of eyeballs. I'm just saying, Leona has eyeballs, even though she's really old. Nobody said anything about that.
Have you got a problem with that? She says, just turning her head most of the way around.
I mean,
I'm glad I've got them.
Are they real? That's the real question. Can I see one for a second? Like, oh, after that, I'm sure we got to
maybe later
first.
I'm gonna try to kick some more of these out. All of us, like now that I'm gonna like steel myself up and kick again.
Deal. All 3 of you are up here now. They seem to be causing quite a bit of trouble.
How many are still up here?
They were basically lining the three walls of this chamber. So there's a lot of them.
Still,
Yeah.
can I try something real quick before?
Yes.
What happens if I just like put my guitar case down on top of all of them and kind of use my other foot to push like a skateboard?
I think for the first time I'm gonna let you do that. Where are you trying to go?
Well, are we needing to get through this room to get further up, or is
This is
this like a pit stop?
It's a closed room.
Yeah, it's a closed room.
Okay.
It seems like yeah.
All right. Well, then I would like to. Are we gonna try to solve this or move on? Like, are we gonna try to deal with these eyes? Not these guys. These eyes.
These eyes.
I can actually show you the map now real quick, because you know about the eye at the bottom. So you are in the chamber here, and the staircase to where you're trying to get continues to up
Yeah,
above.
you said it's slightly lower. Yeah. So we basically have to get across the span of this thing again.
Yes.
Has anybody asked the eyes if they know how to get across?
Are you proposing that the eyes have it?
I mean, maybe they're supposed to. Maybe they're gonna help us across, or like maybe they're gonna like form into like some sort of like bridge. Maybe they're a bridge. I don't know. Everything's magic. I'm just trying to throw this out here.
It could be an
You
eye
aren't
bridge.
wrong.
What'd you say?
All
Nick?
right. I'm gonna bend down and pick up one of the stones and hold it up to sort of my face. Excuse me.
You feel the other stones kind of congregating around your feet as you begin to talk.
Might we trouble you for the way across?
It just feels like it's kind of wriggling in your hand and not doing much. Tony, it seems like the eyes are going away from you and toward Edda, toward where they have enough of a radius around her that she can't really step without stepping on them.
Cool.
Then they don't
like
seem
like when I knock these off, I'm gonna go ahead and assume that has not been stated that more of these things are just filling in pretty consistently, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. You've thinned them a little bit though.
If only we had like a shovel. Like why didn't we bring a shovel?
I usually bring my shovel. I didn't bring my shovel. This is my fault. I'll take the blame. I am going to like I'm gonna put my case on the ground and use it kind of like a not like a broom, but like I guess kind of like a hockey stick. Like I'm gonna try to sweep a bunch of them off the edge all at once.
Like a snowplow.
Kind of like a snowplow.
Deal. Okay. I have an idea. Make a dexterity check.
That's what I'm good at. I like those.
Yeah. It seems to be the.
I made
the
it by
thing of the
3.
day. Made it by 3. All right. Oh, actually, would that have passed your strength?
Would that have? No, absolutely not. My dexterity is almost twice my strength.
Oh, okay. It sounds more like a melee attack.
If you want, I can absolutely describe this in an agile manner. If that is.
Next time I'll make it. It sounds like a melee attack. So next time I'll make it strength. But
Okay.
you get a whole bunch of these off, and you hear a bunch of plinking behind you. But for now, the ground is clearer than it was before. Besides the ones that have obviously, there are more that have been congregating around Edda.
We don't have a long time before this room is going to be filled with these things. So we can see like the landing on the other side is slightly lower than us. You said there's a banister somewhere up here also too. Is that part of the stairs on the other side, or is that somewhere?
Yep.
Great.
As you're looking across, you can kind of trace where the staircase used to be, because there are these little alcoves that are carved into the wall, just kind of on the way up.
How far apart are they?
They are about They're pretty close together. It seems like you could fit a lot of people in here. If they were, just like 2 feet apart, just like bump, 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 bump,
Oh,
bump,
well
bump.
then that's I'm gonna ask I'm gonna like try to clear a path for Etta, and then ask say, Etta, can I get your help getting to that alcove?
Absolutely. I'm gonna grab the rope, by the way, now that all three of us are up here now, right?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yes. Okay. So I'll grab the rope. How far across is the span from where we are to the alcove?
It's a long. It's going to take like a really good running long jump to get there. I think I described it as like 10 feet across earlier.
Okay. Is there anything that I can hook the rope onto?
You could hypothetically get it around the like a bit of banister, but it's kind of against the wall. It'd be kind of hard to get it between the banister and the wall. It seems less. Yeah, it's like a
What if I took one of the rocks
Mhm.
and wrapped the end of the rope around it to make kind of a weight,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
then like lassoed it across?
Okay, yeah. So
Actually, I take that back. What if I attached, sorry, Leona? What if I wrapped the rope around Leona and threw her across, and then got her to hold on to the banister?
Yes. Okay. You're like Leona. She's like, huh? And you're just like, what?
Well, I'm gonna ask her. Leona.
Oh. Yeah.
Now, feel free to say no.
I feel like we're on the same page. Go for it. Quickly.
Perfect.
Come back.
Okay, so I'm gonna wrap the rope around her spine and do my best Indiana Jones impression and throw it across and get her to hold on to the banister.
Deal. Okay. The way that you threw it, it seems like it was really hit or miss whether or not you would have actually got it. But she grabs onto the edge of the stairs themselves and kind of like scrambles up and then holds on to the banister and like wraps her arms around it. She's like, I've got a hold.
Throck, do you think you could get across?
I got it. Perfect. I got it.
Excellent.
She's got like
Driscoll
one
and I
hand.
will hold on to the other side of the rope.
I'm not really worried about both of y'all. I'm worried about the person made out of bones on the other side, but it's fine.
You're doing amazing. Sweetie.
Arms up, legs up, like shimmying across.
I mean, it's magic, like
classic thief maneuver.
Arms up, legs up. You're doing like a on the underside
like
climb.
I'm pulling myself.
Beautiful.
That's how you go across a rope. Just people, FYI. And so
do it. You get halfway across and Leona's like, the magic's holding. And you're getting there, but it seems the eyes here have taken a notice of what you are attempting. They evacuate the area around your feet, Etta, and get further into the chamber to do something else. Throck, you get closer and closer to the other side, and without much trouble because of your good plan, you find purchase on the stone stairway, able to kind of like swing arm, leg, other leg up to that side.
Yeah, the smart thing to do would probably be like is it you said it's a banister, like is it a rail, like a guard, or is there actual like holes in this guardrail?
How do you mean holes?
Can I tie the rope off?
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah. There's enough here that you could tie it off.
I would like to tie the rope off.
Yeah. Leona breathes a sigh of skeletal relief, and then
it's my new band.
Skeletal relief.
Skeletal relief.
But then as Throck is tying this off, Leona kind of cocks her head a little bit, looking past Etta and Driscoll, deeper into the room. And you all start to hear a bit of a deeper sound behind you.
In the room where the
That you're in.
the eyeballs were chilling in.
Yeah.
When I looked, have they formed a giant eyeball golem?
They have formed a giant eyeball. Yes.
Okay. Yeah. Nice.
Yeah. They seem to have magically amalgamated into a gnarled sphere that begins to like rock back and forth and back and forth and back, and then it starts just like rolling toward you, Indiana Jones style, like to knock you into the water. It's like a large stone sphere.
All right. So, if there was a camera, it would be focused on the case. I flick the case, the guitar case open, out, and kind of let go of the case with my hand. In the same movement, I pull the gun blade from the guitar case, and it's it's exactly like the one from Final Fantasy 8 or 9, or whichever one has the gun blade. Except for like more gothic or something in some way, right? Like it's, and then I want to try to slice the big ball into little balls and hit my L1 at the right time to also get the extra damage for the gun shot.
Beautiful. You stand up, prep, and get ready to strike. The first one was you described yourself taking a slash with that. Please, you're trying to roll under your strength, but over its armor.
Okay. All right. So my strength is 15. I rolled equal to.
All right. I think that's is that a?
I mean,
I think that's a success.
I-
You did
I'll-
great.
Yeah. Yeah. Call it.
yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
Good.
Who cares about rules? This.
Yeah. You.
Yeah,
get it,
Micah.
you get
Who
it
cares
partway
about the game you spent time designing?
You like lodge the blade in there. Because you match, you don't manage to just scatter them like the Red Sea, unfortunately. But you lodge it in there and dig in your heels, and it is going to try to act next.
I like how
Edda,
you said dig in your heels, because again, if there was a camera, it automatically went to my feet, like sliding back slightly.
Just like closer to the edge, just
Yeah.
perspective. Edda, this thing is going to try to act now. If you want to try to act before it, then I believe you need to make a wisdom check.
So just
right.
FYI, it is theoretically in this situation under your score and over your opponent's armor class.
Yes.
That would have been a fail. The 15 would
Doesn't matter.
not.
We're already passed.
Okay, so I'm gonna try and roll wisdom, the thing that I am actually good at,
Nice.
which I have 15 of, hilariously.
Okay.
So I'm gonna, and of course I rolled a 19, so I jinxed myself.
Dang it.
Finger guns.
Yep.
All right, I guess it's going first.
Yeah, it is going to try to just like use its stored momentum from being stopped to just like, that doesn't make sense, but just like shove you off the rest of the way, just like throw you off your feet, or rather throw Driscoll off his feet. I rolled an 11.
What are the stats on your giant eyeball golem?
Well, you see, I think that it's if I double check, this damn rule book's too long. That's not true.
Two pages, too much. Oh, the bastards or what?
Yeah, that was the yeah. So I think it's supposed to be under 10 plus its hit dice, which 11 is. It manages to hit you, and deal a point of damage. So if it were more, then I would say it threw you into the area below, but it does not. It just like manages to throw you down. You get thrown onto your back and sliding, the impact dealing a point of damage. which is lucky. It could have been 1 to 6. And now it is Edda's turn.
Okay, so
This thing begins like
Driscoll-
rocking back and forth, trying to do
Yeah.
something again.
Driscoll just got knocked down.
Mm-hmm.
When he hit it with the gunblade sort of thing, it just like fell apart. It didn't really do anything further.
It did seem to have some impact. You rolled a d6 for me. You rolled a 1, right, Jeremy?
No, I did not roll a d6.
Oh, I apologize because you did.
Let's see.
Please do.
3 is what I roll on a d6.
I was projecting. All right. No, it did seem to do some damage. In fact, as it's rolling back and forth, you see it's kind of like grinding against some of the orbs that seem to have kind of gone, like fallen into stasis.
Okay. Sorry, I'm just looking real quick at what we could do here.
Jeremy, technically, since you have a heavy weapon, you would roll d6 with advantage.
Oh, really?
Oh, hell yeah.
Really? It's 5 then.
Damn. All right. Okay. So
Dang, rock golem.
Yeah, your gunblade was a lot more. I described it doing more of an impact to this thing then.
All right. So in that case, I'm going to pull out my little Derringer and try and blast away at this thing, which is just dexterity for a ranged attack. Yeah.
That's right. Yes.
All right. Big money, no whammies. 18. That is a significant miss.
That is a whammy.
Yeah.
If you want, one of the things in Bastards, I believe, is that with luck, you can spend a point of it to have things go your way. So now or in the future, if you want to spend a point of it to make something go your way, that is up to you. If not, then I want to ask what Thrak is doing.
I finished tying off the knot, and then like I can from over here. I guess I can either choose to leave my friends or shoot at this thing. I'm going to shoot at this thing.
I thought
Beautiful.
you were going to roll a dice to decide whether or not you're going to leave your friends or not.
No.
All right, you kick open your violin case. I described you wrong before. You are the one with the top hat. Driscoll's the one.
It's fine. I wasn't going to call you out on it, but
I know you remembered though.
I did.
And you pull out those dueling pistols. Give it to me. That's a dexterity check to roll with a ranged attack.
So to roll a d6, which would have been massively advantageous. I still rolled a 4.
Oh, all right.
So
you're on the dice game today, Tony. I don't know.
It's because I roll. I only roll. Well, I rolled with advantage a lot of the time. I will say. I also only roll black rainbow dice on stream. Let me drop that.
I teed you right up for that.
I know, right? Let me drop that link. Beautiful dice, beautiful games. Lots of them made for custom things. There's even a Repugnant, which is one of our games, custom dice bag you can get there. Anyways, yeah. So I succeed. I roll a d6. I was trying to figure out what exactly ranged does. I think it gives me bonuses to healing rolls when I have one. I rolled a 3.
Beautiful. Some shots come in from across the chamber as they ring out, and as you're doing this, Thrak, you notice that you as you're like standing on this stairway, your eyesight is kind of starting to swim a little bit. You when you were focusing on the task of just like the banister, you were kind of singularly focused. You turn back around though, and you get a second to get your bearings. And standing on here, it seems it's harder to like keep your balance and take aim in the future.
Great. We got to get going.
This thing's gonna try to act now, so I'm gonna have you all roll your wisdom checks. Best of luck to you, Nick, on the stat you're actually good at, as you say. Okay.
I succeeded my wisdom check.
Nice.
I rolled at my wisdom, which we have now established is not succeeding.
Yep.
I got a 4, so that with my
Nice.
wisdom of 15, it's actually a success.
Beautiful. Etta and Driscoll, you can go in whichever order you decide before this amalgamate golem.
The only thing what I would like to do is try to get from the prone position to using my gunblade as a zip line on that rope.
Awesome. Okay. Priority numero uno. It is a moment of stress and danger at this moment. So I'm going to have you roll agility and reflex. Does that sound like what it is? Or bodily prowess? I'm going to say a dexterity check. It's a dexterity heavy game.
All right, here
We are all
go.
thieves and stealing stuff and whatnot.
It's true.
Worst stat, but I rolled a 6 under 8.
Nice. Okay. Yeah, just like a it dips in the middle and you feel yourself like but eventually toward the end it seems that Throck's knot has held up and you make it to the other side. You get your bearings, you pull your gun blade and the guitar case into position, and you also begin to feel your head start to swim. Etta, you are up.
I have an idea that I would like to also communicate to Etta. If you just grab the end of the other rope, I'll untie this side and you just jump off and I'll pull you up.
Perfect. I like that idea. I was going to beat feet anyway, so yeah, I'm going to grab the other end of the rope and just swing across.
Beautiful. All right. Yeah. Yeah. You put this rope here, so you have mastery over it. You toss the other end up, and you swing right as this thing looking a little damaged does like a swing forward, and you just it like fills the entire chamber as it rolls forward, and you just like swing right out of the way at the last moment. And
Very
just,
Indiana Jones.
Boom.
Yeah.
With a smack to the other side, just not too worse for wear. And you feel your back like hit the wall behind you, and you remember that thankfully Leona is no longer there, or else maybe she would have been crunched a little bit. And you are able to, Etta, you are able to be pulled up. As you are all doing your thing over on this side, you see the golem like start to kind of balefully just like disassemble itself, and these things like crawl back up the walls and click back into their little places, kind of resentfully it seems. If there can be if we can personify these.
It's like the little ash thingies from Spirited Away, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Well,
well, I as an assassin, right? I don't know what this means exactly, but it says target saves or is paralyzed, sickly, or unconscious, or is cured from the same, right?
Yes.
Would I be able to maybe reach into my poison making kit or whatever and see if there's any kind of Dramamine or something in there?
To help with
The dizziness or our vision swimming?
yeah. I absolutely.
Is that a luck?
That's just an ability. I know that it's a luck check for thieves. They have like that specific ability. I'm gonna say you reach in there and you are able to pull out what you need. Because yeah, it seems like it's less of a bodily symptom and more of just like a mental thing, but you feel like this should at least help. Especially as this staircase does not seem to be OSHA compliant, to say the least.
Oh man.
Yeah, and I pass any extras over to my companions, and even unrealizingly to what's the skeleton's name again?
Leona.
Leona, yeah.
She holds up a hand like, I'm good.
Hey,
You had
Jeremy, go ahead and
eyeballs,
Jeremy,
right?
pull your microphone in just a little bit closer to your mouth.
Are we good?
Yep.
Oh yeah. Well, you had eyeballs, so I figured you might be like having the same eyeball problems that the
Oh,
rest.
I am. I just can't have the medicine
Oh
thing
yeah,
because I, gestures too.
makes sense. Yeah,
Hmm.
I can put it in. I mean, I can put it in your mouth and see if it works. Anyway.
Just kind of holds it in the bottom jaw. You hear it rattling around.
Micah wants to know, says, dang, who wrote this terrible game? Here's the deal, Micah. If you would just be a quick rule reference for us whenever we have a question, if you just told us the answer, because we know that all game designers play their games raw. So, I mean, like, it's one of those things.
It's true.
Yeah.
I remember there was specifically a page in here that says there are no gaps to fill in this
Yes.
game. So
Yeah. And so everything is perfectly, and it's all cross-indexed. If you can't find it, it's your fault.
I've definitely never used any house rules or ran anything differently than I wrote it at all.
Yeah, you can play other people's games however you want, but your own games, not at all. Not at all.
mm-mm.
I believe this is heavily play tested as well.
Yeah, I'll start making our way up the stairs.
Beautiful. Let's see. At this point, the ever-present droning hum has continued, and yeah, you're passing by all of these like human-sized alcoves as you walk up toward the top, using the railing to guide your way. Do you leave the you can leave the rope there or take it with you, either way.
We take it with us. That was obviously a GM trap.
Oh, yeah. No, taking the rope. Used it
and,
twice already.
Yeah, it's been heckin' useful. You get and with the help of the anti-dizziness, the Victorian Dramamine, you are able to make it up to the top here. Leona says, yep, this was the place. As you make it up, the stairway leads to the edge of a I'm not going to mince words here. We already know all the metaphors and imagery that I'm using in this. There seems to be a kind of like two-pieced like metal eyelid, like half dome cover to this, that is like not quite allowing you egress, but with like a screech of metal, it is able to be pried back open, and you see another room at the very top of this place. It is dark, lit only by that purple moss that I was describing earlier, in a very, very, very dim light. Along all of the walls here, it seems like there were once mirrors that were like angled all around, that have since like gathered grime and kind of faded away and like gathered like blackened marks around like the seams, like mirrors do. But you see a like a clearly bricked over exit to the room.
But we don't see. Do we see the object? The object that we came here for?
No, but the droning is getting much louder.
And is it coming from the bricked up exit?
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, it's always safe.
Is the bricked up exit the same? Is it the same disrepaired, softened, crumbly brick as down below?
Marginally less so.
Okay.
Yeah. It seems this was a more recent addition than the construction itself.
I'm gonna light a torch and just kind of find a place to prop it up.
Beautiful. Yeah, you set it down and the light's just reflected off of all of the mirrors and everything.
And then we all get eviscerated by lasers.
Unfortunately, that's
the end of the game. I would like to do the thiefy thing also. Can I pull out a crowbar? How do I test my luck? Is that what I do?
That is right.
Does it cost a luck, or do I just test it?
It does. It always costs. Yeah.
That's what I assumed. I just was hoping I was wrong. Oh, I rolled a 3. So yes, I succeeded.
Beautiful. All right, you've got that crowbar.
I'm I'm gonna beat up these bricks.
Okay, beautiful. You're able to smash them in and pry them
Sounds
out
like
of
a
out of place.
metaphor.
Hit the bricks.
Mhm.
What's the
I'm
share
gonna
zone
beat these
thing?
bricks. I guess it is a metaphor. I'm gonna beat the bricks out of somebody. Wait, what is it? No, I'm gonna beat the brakes off somebody or something.
Oh,
Never
Yeah,
mind.
it's
Nah, I was close. I was like, shit, it is one. Okay, never mind.
close enough.
We made
yeah,
it one tonight. It
Yeah,
is.
it just
It
became
is
one.
now. I'm gonna
That's
beat
right.
the bricks out of that motherfucker. There's the one.
As you tear down this bricked up entrance, you end up in there's like another short tunnel with like a that ends in just like a really sturdy looking ladder. It seems like there's some boxes in here. They used it as like storage or something. Or rather, they have like open top, and it looks like they're these like um I'm a one trick pony tonight. They're like communion wafers with eyeballs carved in them. And you're able to as you um as you walk over toward the ladder, you see up above there is a pristine looking like wooden trapdoor that is like the droning is like ever present. You feel like as you walked over to the ladder, in fact, you were walking beneath some people. That's how clear the noise is right here. And you know that I'm just gonna say, like, if you climb this ladder, you're probably going to have access to some kind of like podium or like front area in which precious things would be kept. And you are in the perfect primed place to smash and grab, as it were.
Sweet.
Yeah, who's
Hell yeah.
who's gonna get the that eye thing that we came here for? Is it gonna be me? No, you're looking at me like it's supposed to be me. I don't,
Let's send the 7-foot tall guy with the
Yeah.
duster and the guitar case up.
Just
I
total
mostly,
stealth mode, not
I mean,
realizing.
I mostly kill things, so
I think this is an Edda move.
All right, I will go and see what we can see.
That tactical turtleneck's dried out by this point.
I'll keep my eye on you.
Hopefully. I'm gonna grab Leona.
Okay.
And so sorry, paint this picture for me one more time. So we're underneath, there's a trapdoor.
Mm-hmm.
The droning is coming from above the trapdoor.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to how surreptitiously can we slide this trapdoor open? Basically, does it swing out or does it slide out?
You're able to like lift it up, and then you would be able to slide it away, as opposed to the whole 180.
Okay, so I want to lift it open enough for Leona's head to pop up first, and I'm gonna kind of hold her by the spine and like just have her peek up into whatever's out there, and then just sort of rotate her so she can look around the room.
It's like a
Beautiful.
really
Best as
fucked up
possible.
like
Periscope.
puppet show. Like
She as you're lifting her up to prepare to do this,
Yes.
she kind of like turns around and is like, "This revenge thing is fun." And
Yes. Spite is an excellent motivator.
she is gonna try to stay unnoticed.
You got this, Leona.
All right.
We believe in you.
Okay. You lift it up, and just enough for her head to poke through, and by the spine, just kind of up through the top. She has to look around. It's like one thing. So it's like a double take, and then like reaches her arm out and around, and comes back down with something. She's holding a some kind of bottle with a lid on it. And it kind of like comes back down. It seems.
So what did you see?
So there's are balconies of people that are just like full of people, and there were like, I assume, a congregation, but they were on the other side of a wooden wall. I was in the podium, and I grabbed this out of it. She holds up this beautiful thing, which is just this it's a glass jar with a beautiful, like, just like opulent lid on it that has just like carvings and engravings, and it's probably made out of some precious metal. And inside there's this yellowish liquid that's just like a pristine, like very consistent color. Inside of which is just like a squirming eyeball on an eye stalk that is just like running around. There's like just kind of like not happy about its current predicament.
Ooh, okay.
And on
I've
the
got an idea.
on the end of it, it seems to have basically like something that you could use to like, it's like a magical telescope. You can hold it up to your eye and use it to do things.
Okay, so it's got a lens. Does the eyeball have an eyelid, or is it just the eyeball?
Just the eyeball.
Okay, I'm gonna hold it up to my face
Okay.
and in sort of a stage whisper go, "If you can understand me, nod twice." then-
It like looks right at you and then like brings the eye stalk around and sticks it against the glass, like toward you, and then like does like 2 nods.
Okay, that's as far forward as I've thought. Do you want to get away from them?
The chanting stops. And it nods twice.
Drink it.
What the fuck?
Before they said it was an eye, I was going to. So I'm going to whisper down to Driscoll and to Throck and say, "I think we should go."
It like pulls the lens off of the glass and like sticks it back on again, like toward you, and like kind of like does like a couple taps, like right at where your face is, right at eye level.
Is that a yes? We should go.
I think it's trying to get you to pluck your own eye out and then replace your eye with it.
I like both of these.
I think it just wants you to use it.
Oh, okay. I'm gonna. How big is this jar? Like, could I reach in, or would I just like pour it out onto my?
You could reach in, yeah. It's big enough that you could fit your hand. It's not like like the pickle jar.
Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna take the stopper off and sniff it to make sure that it's not like.
It smells chemical, but not acidic. Like if it's preserved this, I don't know. There's weird
Okay.
eye stuff going on.
Yeah, so it's not gonna melt my hand probably. So I'll like dip a pinky finger in just quickly to see if it. Okay. So then I'll pull the eyeball out.
Okay, beautiful.
The eyeball
It's like
telescope, and
wiggly.
then put the lens up to my eye and kind of peer up.
Okay. As you do, you see through the floor. You see a bunch of people that are walking over toward the podium. You see like group. You are able to see through the wall like completely, in just like a cone of where the eyeball is pointed, and you see people walking around and opening up a cupboard where they seem to be alarmed to find nothing, and then you see them reaching for the trapdoor.
I take the torch and I set the ceiling.
I'm gonna drop right down out of the trapdoor.
Okay, Leona hangs on.
And then get out of sight! Come quick!
Tony, did you say you put the torch out?
No, I'm saying I'm gonna stick the torch up like it's a wooden ceiling, right? You said it's a wooden trapdoor.
Yes, it is.
I'm gonna set it on fire.
All right.
Okay.
Beautiful. That is valid too. You all begin to like usher away, except for except for Throck, who's just like holding this up to the ceiling and like shielding his eyes as it begins to test luck. Test luck, Tony. I'm gonna see if this is a treated floor or not. If it catches fire.
I'm not lucky. when I see that it's not working, I mean, I know they're pulling it out. I would like to test luck again to pull out a small object, which I
What are
would
you
like
looking
to
for?
pull out a thing of high grain alcohol. And I rolled a 2 this time.
That works. You have some good high grain alcohol.
And I'm going to toss a little bit on the ceiling, like pull the horse down, toss a little on the ceiling, and then wait for them to open up the trap door, and then I'm going to breathe the rest of it straight in their faces.
Beautiful. Yeah, it's a quick that is quick thinking, and the first person to say "there's" gets a face full of fire.
Right.
As you just blow this thing in their direction. You have the artifact in hand. What are the other two of you doing?
Well, as long as it like, I guess I want to see the artifact get closer to leaving than I want to be between the artifact and the people.
Good. Nick, is Edda on her way out?
Yeah, I think we should leave because it sounds like there's a lot of people. Oh wait, I can like see through stuff.
You can, yeah,
in a
you know.
cone, right?
Everyone kind of starts to hear things, but you're able to like look up as if you're in that room.
Okay, so and did Leona drop down?
Yeah. Oh, Leona was still on you. She was able
Okay,
to
good.
catch
Perfect.
on.
So I'm going to as I'm getting away from the trapdoor, sort of look back towards it to see what's on fire and who's above us.
Okay. There are. It seems like this person who is on fire is like half being tended to, half being like thrown to the side to like get out of the way, like in a frustrated way, where it's like, stop being on fire. You're really annoying. Get out of our way.
Yeah.
So that they can give chase, but it's giving you a moment of time to run for it.
Okay. So we should leave. We should leave 5 minutes ago. So let's go, and I'm gonna start heading back down the stairs.
Okay, you run over, and this was going to be the danger moment, but because of what Driscoll was able to pull out of their assassin's pack, you were able to do the all the way down to the end of the staircase, and Driscoll with the artifact as safe as it is in its endangered position right now, you're able to follow behind. Throck, are you heading down as well?
Yeah, I'm like I toss some of the alcohol around the room on whatever stuff is down here, and I just toss the torch into the middle of that along with my like long cloak.
The crackers just like
Yeah.
ignite. Yeah.
Because wood will burn eventually, and and then I'll go.
And
Beautiful.
as we're like making our way out of here, you had mentioned a couple times that the construction was kind of aging and crumbled and stuff like that. Is there any like places like where it looks like maybe a keystone and an arch is like
Ooh.
or a crack in like a keystone and an arch or something like that?
There is the bit that was bricked up. The hole that you made to go through was enough to like get over there. If you want to like try to cause some catastrophic damage, you could
Yeah.
you could like try to do that. How are you trying to do that? You
I'll
look
just
for
I'd like to just take a bullet out of the gun blade and put it in like a crack or some place where I could kind of um get a swing at it or something
Mhm.
like that, or take a shot at it uh yeah, shoot at the shell. I have no idea if this is how guns work or not,
Me
but
neither, but I like it enough that you find some crumbling architecture you were looking for right in the bit that you were using to that Etta was using the crowbar to chip away at. You give it a sling, and there's a beautiful pop as this just like begins to crumble down, and like a crack like cartoonishly spreads up the wall and across part of the ceiling, and just like whole stones begin to like fall.
I think we should move faster now, just heads up.
Yes, good idea.
And yeah, one of them like plinks off of the like the other half of the eyelid that you didn't need to open. This whole chamber's collapsing. Yeah. What do you do once you get to the end of the staircase, you all?
How far is it to the water?
It is. I forgot to describe it. I think it was like 15 feet.
That
It's
sounds
a-
Yeah,
about
I
right.
jump into the water.
Okay. Yeah, you just do like a little drop down. Like I described the walls as being like really slick, so you're able to just like put yourself right up against it without worry of catching on anything. And you sploosh down into this murky water.
I mean, we can't be that like this thing's got to be relatively right above where the like the bottom of the stairs has to be fairly near the where the pathway comes out, right?
Yeah,
I'm just gonna hook it and try to land on the ground.
you haven't landed in the water yet, have you?
No, I have not. Nor do I want to. That's disgusting. I don't know why I'll keep on getting
No,
in this water.
it's really not nice.
So,
I've given you enough tests of dexterity. I'm gonna just make this be completely luck. We're dealing with only narrative stakes right
like
now.
how you're just like, no, screw you, luck only.
They warned us about broken bones, and they must deliver a broken bone.
I rolled a 19. I hope you're proud of yourself.
Yes. Okay. It's fine. The stakes were you fall in the water. So you fall in the funny water. That's the fun of it. You are all gross. Oh, Edda, actually, anything else from you? Leona's just like muttering over your shoulder, like, not the water, not the water, not the water.
Could I tie the rope to the banister and swing onto the ground, basically?
Yeah, you got the rope.
I'm gonna do that, and it's gonna be ripped to the rope because obviously I can't. I'm not gonna try and do like a fancy knot that I could like tug under. I'm just gonna like wrap this thing in and sort of as an aside to Leona is like, oh, you better believe we're not going back in the water, and then swing onto land, basically.
Okay. Roll a dexterity check with the help of the rope.
So that's with advantage?
Yep, with the help of the rope.
Hell yeah. So 17 and 19. So I am going into the water.
Well, the funny thing is you're falling, and as you are nearing the water, you feel something push off of your shoulders with both hands, just like, please. She's gonna try so hard not to go back in the water. And she got oh nope, that's on my keyboard. Oh, that was almost a 20. Okay. That is still a 15. Yep. All four of you in the water. You're able to just.
I have a question, right?
Yeah,
How important is it to the narrative that Leona continues to be one piece?
That's up to you.
What if instead of Leona not making it to land, Leona makes it perfectly to land, but the impact shatters all of the bones in different directions.
Even better, like just the head lands on land and everything else
falls into the water.
Oh my goodness. I'm she just like the skull rolls away, just still able to like flap the jaw because that's Leona. Able to still to chat you up.
And Michael also wants everybody to know technically luck is used like old school saving rolls, so they'll allow us to do it the way that Vi did.
Oh, good. But the rest of you are able to miserably crawl out of the water, scoop up Leona's skull, and dash off back through the Undercity. And I think that is where we are going to call it for tonight with your spoils of the surveillance church.
Awesome. Let's go ahead. Let's go ahead and do a reaction roll. So reaction roll is a live stream within a live stream. It's where we sit down to talk with the designer of an adventure and via chat. The creator of a game that we just played. Two different people, two different things. Today we are playing In the Pit of the Pupil, which is an adventure by Vi Huntsman, who has been running it for us. We also have been using the Bastard system, which is a system by Micah, who is in the chat right now. So let's talk a little bit about both Dissident Whispers, but also let's talk specifically about the Pit of the Pupil and the system, just what our experience was like playing it. I had a blast. My name's Tony. Jeremy, tell people who you are.
I'm Jeremy, and I'm with Gordon at Games. And yeah, we just played. Was it called Pupil of the Pit?
Pit of the
Pit of the
Pupil.
Pupil.
Pit of the Pupil. Yeah.
Yeah. Awesome. Nick, tell people who you are.
I'm Nick. I am Monkey's Paw Games on Twitter and other things, and yeah, I just had an absolute blast playing this ridiculous scenario.
Awesome. And then Vi, tell us a little bit about Pit of the Pupil.
Um,
Tell us about why you chose to put it in Dissident Whispers, or if you were just like, I want to put something in Dissident Whispers, and then tell us why the heck you did what you did.
I was looking for inspiration, and part of the reason that I said the Bloodborne thing was because the creature that was made up of the amalgamate of eyes was an homage to the my favorite item in Bloodborne, which is the pebbles. They're these little pebbles that are just stones that you can throw at people for like 2 points of damage, which is nothing in Bloodborne. And I love throwing them because they're absolutely useless. So I wanted to turn them into a formidable monster, and so I did. More important than the fact that I wrote it, though, is the fact that it's in Dissident Whispers, a charity project raising money for the National Bail Fund, which we're here celebrating the 1-year anniversary of. And so, yeah, that's that. I liked playing Bastards. This is my first time running it on stream, and it was a lot of fun.
And we just got rated by our
cool.
friends at Dice Drinks and Drama. Also, too, they joined us. They are. We have some people from that community who are regulars in the stream. Also, a lot of people who watch both channels. So, welcome everybody. We just finished playing Pit of the Pupil using the Bastard system, and so we're doing our reaction roll right now. Thanks for joining us. Yeah, I had a blast. Let's hear from Nick first. Nick, any thoughts or comments about either the system or about the adventure, or questions?
So first, shout out to Micah because they're awesome. But Bastards, probably one of the, it's the joke that everybody creates their own like sort of OSR system, including me. I think pretty much everybody here has done exactly that hilariously. It's one of the tighter systems that I've ever run, and it's really definitely my jam as far as like just being very rulings heavy to the point of where it's just like, just figure it out. And I think more systems need to trust groups more to figure things out rather than coming up for a rule for everything. It shouldn't really have to come up for a ruling for this if there's no clear answer, because that should just be something that a group does or should feel comfortable doing, and we all do it anyways. So Bastards is great for that, in that it took all of 30 seconds to come up with characters, and I feel like everybody, even though we had 2 thieves and an assassin, we were all like distinct.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like
Yes.
everybody was a separate entity, which it's a very stripped down system that there's just no filler, there was no sort of nothing extraneous. It was just exactly what we needed to run a very cool system, or run a very cool scenario. And then with Pit of the Pupil, first of all, the whole eyeball aesthetic was great. Loved it. The Bloodborne connection, especially with the pebbles, it also really reminded me specifically of the sort of pebble construct of Bloodborne. I haven't played as much as I played all the other Souls games a ton, but like the prism stones that you can just drop to like light your way kind of thing. Those they really reminded me of that. And also just I feel like because I very deliberately did not read this scenario before playing because I wanted to come into it fresh. I feel like A, we got a lot out of this in the short time that we played, but B, there was more that we didn't get into, that either we just bypassed or it didn't come up. And so I feel like if you were to give this whole scenario a different coat of paint and ran it again with the same group, I bet like you could run it again and have a totally different experience. And then at the end, you could have been like, oh, by the way, we just ran Pit of the People again, and none of y'all knew. And I was like, yeah, that checks out, honestly, because like how many other dungeon crawls are set up in a very similar way to this, but are still, again, so distinct that like you could run it a dozen times and have a different experience each time. So I yeah, that was my first reaction kind of thing, is that like, as much as I think we got out of this running, you could run it again and have a totally different experience. And like the blurred vision thing, we sidestepped somehow. The broken bones thing, we sidestepped somehow. You know what I mean? Like there were elements to this that we didn't get to play with, that I feel like if we ran it again, we could run into those things or we couldn't. But like for these are all short little scenarios,
right?
But there's a ton that you can do with a short scenario, and it doesn't always end up the same. And I think this is a perfect example of that.
Yeah, love it. Jeremy, how about you? What were your experience playing Bastards or playing Pit of the Pupil? Any thoughts about the system? Any questions for Vi or Micah, who's watching right now?
Yeah, I mean, it was a lot of fun. It's like reminiscent of like those stripped down systems Into the Odd, Troika, and stuff like that, right? And it seems like it would be perfect to like so every once in a while, like I'll be like in a like community hangout somewhere, something like that, and I'll be like, all right, well, there's 5 people here, and you guys have to play role playing games now, and like
I trapped you.
this would be like a perfect game to make people play with you, because you'd be like, hey, it's only gonna take a second, like seriously. Everybody was just not talking at all just 2 minutes ago. So, but yeah, it seems perfect to play on the fly for real. I gotta check it out more.
Awesome.
And it's pretty. It's just like the PDF that you shared with us is just pretty. It's just pretty.
I'm not gonna ask Micah's permission. I already showed the cover. I'll show like a couple of pages, just the first couple, so people get a sense of how.
Micah's one of the best layout artists on the scene, hands down.
Yeah.
And this is just the ash can. Like, it's very
Micah
simple.
And Meredith are like Micah, Meredith. There's somebody else that I'm thinking of that I stand for. Sean McCoy, Micah Meredith, Sean McCoy, Eric, who I think we get to hang out with later on this week or whatever. Like, all of those people's layout skills are just like off the chain. Every single one of them like makes me like grown a little bit, because I have to get better at doing stuff. Like I'm not gonna get another gig if I don't get like just a little bit worse than they are. Right?
I feel that.
It's I didn't get to say this earlier, but like that's really even what pushed me to get to where I'm at, where I can even take money paying jobs, right? Is like people like Micah and Meredith and stuff like that, like making such good stuff.
Yeah. No. I love it. I had an absolute blast. Is it all right if I share the map?
Please do.
So this is what we just experienced. I'll have to scroll up a little bit and down for you to get a sense. I've got the adventure moved off to the side, but it's pretty great also too. But this is what we did. And here's the thing. Like, I think Jeremy mentioned it pretty early on. Like, and as dumb as it is, like, just the idea of climbing up instead of climbing down just tremendously changes the way you think about it. Because on the way down, you're like, okay, cool. I just got to do a controlled fall, right? Like, on the way up, you're like, well, crap. like gravity is not on my side at this moment. You know, like it completely changes the way you think about something. So it's a very simple turn that absolutely changes this. I did like I was talking about it in character and it wasn't particularly bothering me, but I am the kind of person who's like, oh, talking about things sticking out of this giant eyeball, like that's great. All I can feel is a bunch of stuff sticking out of my eyeball
Yeah,
right now.
I was gonna
Like-
say, like, if my girlfriend was watching, which I know she's not, right? But if she was, she would have hated that part. She does not deal well with, like, my daughter has started doing this thing where she pulls her eye. She's almost 3. She pulls her eyelid down and she touches her eye, and I think it's just because Ashley is not like just because she doesn't like eye stuff, right?
Mhm.
Like I can't even, like, if I have something wrong with my eye or like think something's in my eye or something like that, I have to like go to the neighbor's house to see if they'll look inside of my eyeball.
Must have been some ancient memory of seeing
Just
that one scene from Dead Space 2.
just what is it? What are those like collective conscious memory
Uh-huh.
things?
Right.
Yeah.
But I like I had it as such an absolute blast. I loved Bastards. I downloaded it a while ago. I downloaded the adventure that came out already. I'm a big fan of the system. I actually I love it as a very simple, like it feels very like much like a British OSR. Like, you know, it's got the 3 stats. It has luck as a major element for that. The starting equipment. It's got a really strong vibe to it that I love. But I also like. I love the color choice, like the bright pinks and yellows, as far as the design
so good.
goes. Like again, I know we talked about it a little bit, but it's just such a really great, phenomenal piece. And yeah, I had an absolute blast playing it for the first time also, because collecting and buying RPGs is a different hobby than actually getting a chance to play them. But I've been like steeped in OSR stuff for the last 2 months, more so than normal, because we're doing some dev work for somebody, and it's just it's one of my favorite ways to play, because I love it when I as a player can just be like, here's the smart dumb thing that I want to do. I don't have to worry about character rationale at all. That's some of my favorite ways to play. I also love that I rolled a thief, because I'm an item fiend and I love just being able to pull things out of my pockets. Like being able to manipulate the world around me is like because when I write a character, like I also couldn't carry anything. It was a great thing. I had like the ability to carry 5 things. I had to like not have certain things with me that were starting equipment, because I didn't have enough to be able to carry them. And so Micah, if you want to come on and run a simple dungeon anytime, just let's set it up sometime to have you come on. I'd love to have you be able to come do it. But I love that ability, and it is essential in this one, especially if you are a low strength character, to be able to be like, oh, like I actually had this the whole time. And so but absolute blast. I like such a good adventure, and like I said, not only just that change in perspective, but there are a lot of things in it now, looking at it, where it's like, yeah, we went through this a little bit faster, or like the roll table at the beginning, like this, the 1d4 for how you're getting into it, the narrative process for the way you GM'd it, was all just a tremendous amount of fun. I don't know that I had any idea what to expect, but I loved also looking back at it that there are numerous ways up, and we're only playing around with one of them, right? Like there's the alcoves around the edges. There's all these other different things that you could use to manipulate the space. And all that, like all that's just a tremendous amount of fun to be able to think through like the different ways. And it's not only just like the rulings over rules piece. It's the like, don't have one way that can solve a problem. And also it's okay to have 0 ways to solve a problem, and just look at the players and be like, here's your problem. Tell me what you're doing. And I feel like this adventure would help a GM learn to do that a little bit better and not have a preconceived way at which they do it. Michael also says,
I've been thinking of this play on words I've been trying to think of a play on words for like 10 minutes now. I think that Pit of the Pupil would work really well with ICRPG as well.
Boo.
Terrible.
Micah says, I personally loved all the lore you put into it. It felt very Bloodborne. Like even the church felt like an old timey operating theater. That's very cool. So just if you're just joining us, if you're here just the last little bit, please, if you haven't had a chance, check out Dissident Whispers, the adventure we played tonight, not the system, but the adventure is in it. It's an absolutely great book that came out last year that came together at a really tragic time. A continually tragic time in our countries, the life of our country, and that continues to be an issue in our world today. It's an international, diverse crew of creators who help put together 2-page adventures that are for a bunch of phenomenal systems, as well as a bunch of system agnostic content like the game that we played today. All the money from the sales of it go to help the national bail fund. If you go buy a copy of it in print or in digital, it still does that. You can go to whispercollective.org to do that, or you can donate directly to the bail fund, the bail project, by going to ttrpg.link/donate. We're trying to hit $500 over the course of the week. We're 70 now, so whoever donated in the middle of our stream, or whether it was one person or numerous, any amount helps, even if it's just $1 or $5. All that goes through Tiltify. It goes straight from them to the bail project. So please, if you're able to donate any amount, whether you're watching this live or later, it's incredibly appreciated. But if nothing else, go check out the Dissident Whispers project and pick up a copy for yourself. Also, Vi, you want to tell people a little bit about Reading Club, because that's going to be happening all month long. But this would be a great thing to read for Reading Club if you haven't yet.
It's true. Yeah, I'm Vi from the YouTube channel Collapse Without Permission, which you should totally check out, because we're doing our second semi-annual book club. So this month we are all trying to read a book. I've already got some people on board. Someone's going to be reading Cyberpunk 2020. Someone's going to be reading Dissident Whispers. Another person is going to be reading Electric Bastion Land. And I suggested one of these 2 books because they're full of bite-sized content. So come over to Collapse Without Permission, and let's all read some books together, because that's just that's what we're all about. I don't want books languishing on shelves. I want them to get read, to get run, to get reviewed. So yeah.
Awesome. So yeah, please go check it out. This month I'm going to read, in addition to rereading Dissident Whispers, I'm going to read Babes, because I have my copy of Babes.
Nice.
I'm super excited. I don't do unboxings on our channel. Like, it's not a thing I do. But I still have not opened it. And there's 4 games sitting on my desk that I have not either opened at all or not fully opened. So Babes is one of them. This has been here for like a week and a half now.
That's Babes in the Wood, Babes?
Babes in the Wood, Babes.
That's how you know you've made it, if you can handle not opening packages that you've got.
So here's why I haven't opened this package. Here's why I'm going to do an unboxing. Here's why I chose this game for book club this month. I know what this package looks like on the inside, right? Like, I know that because I ordered the deluxe version of this game by Adam Voss of World Champ Game Co. I know that when I open it up, the game is going to be wrapped in a custom printed handkerchief. I know that there's a bunch of other stuff inside, and I know that it's going to be like a Christmas morning birthday present type experience. And no one else in my house cares about that. Like, I am excited to open this, but my wife is not. She's going to be like, how much money did you spend on that? My children will be like, great, Dad, thanks. We created a new concept for the channel called The Reveal, where I won't do it very often, but we will do unboxings when I get a package I'm especially excited about, the act of opening, and don't want to open alone. So next week, I'm going to open up this package with whoever tunes in for it, get to go through the experience of opening it together, sharing that experience with you, and then I'll start my read process after that. So that's what I'm going to do this month for book club. I also have I've already opened it part of the way, but haven't finished. Through Ultan's Door, the way that Ben wrapped each of the packages like by hand and like hand printed them is beautiful also. So I'm going to showcase that also. But anyways, there's some games, like, I'm always excited to get a game, but there's some games that I know when I open the package, it's going to be more of an experience. So I'm excited for that also too. So we'll be doing that also too. 22222. One last reminder, if you haven't donated yet, please go do that. Link's right below all of us right now. We don't have a good way to sign off on this channel up for this one. Vi actually created a great sign off for us for Prestige class that we use every single time we do it. But so we just wave at the camera until I take us off air. Thanks everybody for being here with us, and we will see you next time we play. Oh wait, no, hold on real quick. We'll wave again in a second.
Oh, no.
I should do this. Hey, so here's happening the rest of the week. Tomorrow we have at 3 p.m. Eastern time a panel with Johan, Eric, Diego, and Junk, other contributors to that, to talk about their experience contributing, why this was an important issue for them, and what they feel like the impact has been for them, as well as some of the other things we talked about earlier in our stream today. So please come back for that conversation. We'd love to have you with us. Friday, like we mentioned, we're encouraging people to just read a new game, a game you've never read before. It could be Dissident Whispers. If you haven't had that, please go download it and then share it online. Vi, is there a place we want people to share that? Is there a hashtag people should be using?
Yeah, I'm trying to get hashtag TTRPG book club.
There we go.
Is the hashtag.
Hashtag TTRPG book club for that. Share it. Friday is great. If you don't do it on Friday, just do it later on the month. Then on Saturday, Jeremy is going to be running an actual play of Ghost Ship. It'll be the first stream on our channel that I'm just not on. I'm not available that day. Jeremy or someone will be running the stream. We still got to figure all that out, but it'll be good. And then on Saturday for our closing stream, we've got Vi Gaming again. And I think, are we doing good old fashioned Murder Dungeon?
Yes, we are.
We're doing Mork Borg's Good Old Fashioned Murder Dungeon, my favorite, in the book from Dissident Whisper. So come back for all that stuff. Now, we don't have a good way to close the stream. So until we do that, until we go off, we're just going to wave at the camera until we say goodbye. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in tonight.
Bye-bye.
I feel like they ended Teletubbies.